Phoenix Nights. Chapter 922. Hong Long Long. The space distorted and collapsed. The disturbance was huge. Two figures walked out side by side. One was Dongbush Shuang, and the other was the silver-haired, silver-robed, black-skinned Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master might have kept his aura, but his senses were sharp enough. Ordinary primal caves giants could discern that this was merely an incarnation of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. When the Star Convention was held, experts from the 6 sacred grounds of the 2 great sacred worlds would attend. Usually, there would be at least one primal chaos expert. Because this time, the teacher of the Great Void Heaven Temple was Dongbush Shuang, a Unity Realm expert, they sent another expert to be in charge of the convention, the incarnation of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Actually, most of them were just incarnations. Reaching the level of primal chaos experts, unless there was an important matter that required them to kill an extremely powerful enemy, they would only act with their true bodies. For ordinary meetings with friends or attending the convention, they could just send their incarnations. This is my first time coming to the Blade Emperor City. Dongbush Shuang looked afar. There was an incomparably huge city there. Under the law suppression of the sacred world, it was hard for him to see the outline of the entire city with his current strength. But according to the intelligence, the Blade Emperor City was 6,800 billion kilometers long and wide. It was considered common in the primal chaos void. But in the sacred world, it was a terrifying city. This was also the biggest city in the 2 great sacred worlds. Hong Hong Hong. There were layers of arrays revolving above the Blade Emperor City. It was constantly causing the world energy to surge like a tidal wave. Countless colorful lights surged in all directions. Under the illumination of the sun high in the sky, the Blade Emperor City was even more dazzling. It isn't ordinary, right? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master chuckled. For the sake of constructing this Blade Emperor City, Blade Emperor has paid a huge price. It is said that even Wu Zhu and Lord Lo Cheng have contributed to it. There are even unique treasures protecting the city. Even if Sacred Master were to kill his way here and destroy the entire Eastern Unicorn sacred world, the Blade Emperor City would remain stable. After all, it is the number 1 superpower of our 2 great sacred worlds. Dongbush Shuang nodded. Even though the Great Void Heaven Temple had a deep foundation, it was still lacking when compared to the Blade Emperor City. Come, let's go in, Inquisitive Sky Palace Master said. With a single teleportation, the 2 of them arrived at the east gate of the Saber Imperial City and entered the city. In just a few moments, experts from the Saber Imperial City came to welcome them, and arranged accommodations for Dongbush Shuang and Inquisitive Heaven's Palace Lord. The 2 luxurious cave abodes were where Dongbush Shuang and the Inquisitive Sky Palace Master stayed during the Star Convention. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master, Elder Dongbo, I have also arranged some servants in your caves. If you have any trivial matters, feel free to instruct them. A purple metal man with 3 blades on his back said. If there's anything important, send me a message directly. I'll have to trouble Commander Chiu Dao, Inquisitive Sky Palace Master said indifferently. It's my duty, Commander Chiu Dao said with a smile. Then I won't disturb the 2 of you. Commander Chiu Dao immediately turned around and left, quickly teleporting far away. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master looked at Commander Chiu Dao's teleportation and said, Dongbua, this time, you have become one of the 5 teachers of the convention. This has already caused some objections, so you should be even more cautious when choosing talented cultivators. After all, you are not only representing yourself, but also our Great Void Heaven Temple. I understand. Dongbush Shuang nodded. The old ancestor had given him this position as a form of training for him. When he did things, he naturally couldn't let the Great Void Heaven Temple lose face. There were still more than 3 months until the convention. Dongbush Shuang had already received the list of cultivators participating in the Star Convention, as well as the information about them. Because the registration deadline was 1 year in advance, and the organizers had already arranged for experts to sweep through the cities of the 2 sacred worlds, bringing all the participants to Saber Imperial City. More than 16,000. Dongbu Shuang looked at the list of names. After a long period of silence, he began to walk around Saber Imperial City. He wanted to experience this ancient city, as well as eat some of the famous delicacies. On this day, Snow Dragon Restaurant. This was an extremely famous restaurant in Saber Imperial City. It used a special method to raise snow dragons, and used the blood of the snow dragon as the main ingredient to make snow dragon wine. There were also snow dragon meat, snow dragon tongue, snow dragon liver, and various other ingredients that were cooked using different cooking methods. Over the years, it had made a name for itself in Saber Imperial City. Even though Saber Imperial City was huge and had many restaurants, it could still be ranked in the top 1,000. Cultivators also needed resources to cultivate, but where did the resources come from? Other than adventuring, killing, and fighting, this business of cooking delicacies was also a way to earn resources. There were many special ancient cultivators that were extremely talented in cooking delicacies. Amen. Dongbu Shuang tasted the pieces of fragrant and translucent snow dragon meat. He ate until his eyes squinted. This is absolutely ranked in the top 100 delicacies I've eaten. Amen. When I break through to the primal chaos realm and can use ultra-long distance teleportation publicly, I'll bring Jingqiu, Yuer, Qin Yao and the others over to have a taste. Woo! It's delicious. Let me try the snow dragon liver. Amen, this piece of snow dragon liver is really soft. It's so soft that it softens my heart. It's truly delicious. The stronger one was, the more scenery one could see. Of which, eating delicacies was also considered a type of scenery. Pa! A wine flask fell onto the ground. The wine spilled all over the place, and the lid even rolled to the side. Seated at a corner, Dongbu Shuang could not help but look up. Not far away, there were 3 cultivators at the table, and it was rare for them to be at the Unity Realm. At this moment, a simple-looking green-robed male stood up. His expression was pale. Seated there was a golden-robed young man and a beautiful girl. This girl was faintly filled with charm. Being at the Unity Realm, you actually knocked the wine flask off the table? The golden-robed young man shook his head. Brother Fujun, you can't even take this little blow? You can actually cultivate to the Unity Realm with this little heart realm? The simple-looking green-robed male had a pale expression. He stared at the golden-robed young man and the beautiful girl. His eyes were filled with disbelief. His voice was trembling. Yenner, why is it like this? The girl in front of him, she was the true love of his heart. She was someone whom he was determined to be together with for life. He was willing to give up his life for her, and the time he spent together with her was a joyous one. Fujun, I'm sorry. After meeting Sunyi for the past few days, I've already determined that he is my true love. The red-robed beautiful girl muttered. You and I are both cultivators, and you should know that feelings cannot be forced. We should separate when we need to. I believe that with your cultivation hard realm, you should be able to adapt very quickly. Adapt? The simple-looking green-robed male looked at the girl. How am I inferior to him? I've cultivated for a shorter period than him, and I'm stronger than him. I will definitely enter the holy ground in this star convention. We have known each other for countless years, but what about you and him? We have only known each other for 1,000 years. Could it be because his father is Xinghua Emperor? This has nothing to do with Xinghua Emperor. When meeting true love, don't talk about 1,000 years, even a year is enough. The red-robed beautiful girl shook her head. The simple-looking green-robed male looked at the golden-robed young man. Xinghua Sunyi, I treated you as my brother. But I never expected that you would be so ruthless. Forget it. I hope that you won't let Yenna down. If you do, I will definitely not let you off. Brother Fujun. The golden-robed young man shook his head. Firstly, it was your wife who seduced me in the dark. Fujun was stunned. The red-robed beautiful girl beside him was also stunned. She even controlled her magic to isolate the surroundings. As for Dongbu Shuang, who was seated at the corner, he became interested. Within his law domain, How could this girl's strength obstruct his investigation? Secondly, after she was seduced, I immediately investigated through my Xinghua God Palace. I even investigated her past. Including you, she has already had 3 Dao companions. If I were to be included, it would be the 4th. The red-robed beautiful girl was astonished. Fu Jun was filled with disbelief. How is that possible? Powerful cultivators had extraordinary mental states. Once they thought of themselves as Dao companions, they would rather be alone for the rest of their lives. Even if they had some special encounters that moved them, they might have a second Dao companion. But it was unheard of that true Dao companions would change 4 times in a row. This could only mean that they had ulterior motives. There were indeed such cultivators who would intentionally seduce others to become Dao companions, forcing them to sacrifice themselves for them. After all, Dao companions would not change even in death. Just like how Dongbue Shuang had risked his life for his wife. He had even paid a large amount of Origin World stones without any regrets. And intentionally deceiving others to become Dao companions would allow one to obtain a large amount of resources. Yen or Yu. Fu Jun looked at the red-robed beautiful girl in front of him. Don't listen to his nonsense. The red-robed beautiful girl said. She felt regret in her heart. In the past, she fancied the potential of Fu Jun and thought of ways to seduce him. But this time, she met the young master of the Xinghua God Palace during the Star Convention. One had to know that Xinghua Emperor was famous. He was a great expert at the 9th level Star Pagoda strength, and even the Holy Grounds did not dare to slight him. How many resources did the young master of the Xinghua God Palace have? But it far surpassed Fu Jun. And Yen, you still want to quibble in front of me? Why, I will arrange for an expert to come over and investigate your past. How about that? The golden-robed young man held his wine cup and said indifferently. The red-robed beautiful girl turned pale when she heard that. You are indeed the Xinghua young master. You are ruthless enough. I am convinced that I lost in your hands. The red-robed beautiful girl immediately stood up and left. She did not even look at these 2 males. The golden-robed young man smiled at Fu Jun. Brother Fu Jun, you should thank me. Chapter 923. The plainly dressed Fu Jun stared blankly at the red-robed beauty who was walking out of the restaurant. He was still in disbelief. How could this be? How could this be? We're screwed this time. The red-robed beautiful woman walked out, feeling sullen in her heart. She was extremely careful and cautious. Even if she tried to seduce young Master Xinghua in the dark, she only hinted at him slightly at the start, and didn't leave anything behind. It was only after 1,000 years that she was certain that young Master Xinghua had taken the bait that she truly kicked him out. She even purposely said that she couldn't let Lord Fu be too sad and purposely stalled for time until now. I didn't expect that young Master Xinghua had been faking it all this time. In fact, his faking was even better than mine. The red-robed beauty silently mused to herself. She could be considered a veteran, yet she had not seen through young Master Xinghua's disguise at all. In fact, in the legends, young Master Xinghua had never had a Dao companion before and only knew how to cultivate. Who would have thought that he was even better at disguising his emotions than her? Humph, so be it if you fail. Let's see if you can enter the Holy Land during the Star Convention this time. If you fail, you will have to change your identity. The red-robed beauty, Yen, secretly calculated. She was quite decisive. To her, seducing people was just a way to obtain resources for her cultivation. Inside the restaurant, Fu Jun suffered a huge blow. Previously, he thought that his Dao companion only had a change of heart. Who would have thought that all these years had been a pretense and deceit? It was all fake. Brother Fu Jun, she is intentionally lying to you. Why are you still immersed in it? The golden-robed youth laughed as he poured some wine. Come. Let's drink. Now I know that she was just pretending in the past, but can she really transcend just because she wants to? Fu Jun smiled bitterly. Brother Sun, I know that you have good intentions, and you have indeed helped me avoid even greater troubles in the future. But in my heart I secretly wish that you had never pointed it out. The golden-robed youth was slightly taken aback. If it's true, how good would that be? Fu Jun turned his head and walked out. The golden-robed youth sat there alone and poured himself a cup of wine. His gaze was distant as he muttered to himself. If it's true! He poured himself one glass after another and drank silently. Only when he was done did he pay the bill and leave. In the corner, Dongbua Shuiying, on the other hand, was watching everything that was happening. As one of the 5 teachers of the convention, he had long since received the name list and information regarding the participants of the Star Convention. Naturally, he knew these 3 people. Fu Jun, cultivated for 320 billion years. Rogue cultivator. Adventuring outside. Not long after reaching the Unity Realm, he met Ni Yen and became Tao companions with her. Ni Yen, she had cultivated for 1 trillion years and was also an itinerant cultivator. Now, it seemed that she was an extremely cunning cultivator who liked to seduce other experts to become Tao companions, thereby cheating them of their resources. Among the cultivators, there were all kinds of evil demons. Naturally, there were also those who deceived others. Xinghua Sunyi, cultivating for 530 billion years, his background is huge. The previous 2 were loose cultivators, but Xinghua Sunyi was the son of the famous Xinghua Emperor. Because of his father's bloodline, his cultivation speed was extremely fast, and the speed at which he stepped into the Unity Realm was even faster than Dongbua Shuiying, in just 8 billion years. But after that, his strength rose at an extremely slow pace. After all, his father was a primal Chaos Realm giant, and he could only reach the Unity Realm by relying on his bloodline cultivation system. Because his status was high enough, there was a lot of information regarding Xinghua Sunyi. From young to old, there were a lot of records. According to the records, he had never had a Tao companion before. He only knew that he was immersed in cultivating in the Xinghua God Palace. It's a pity that his strength was ordinary. Interesting. Truly interesting. Dongbua Shuiying looked at the departing back of this golden-robed young man. A person who has never had a Tao companion and only knows how to cultivate actually caused that person called Ni Yen to stumble. It seems that there are many unknowns that have yet to be discovered. Dongbua Shuiying became interested in this young master Xinghua. Naturally, no one present could recognize Dongbua Shuiying's identity. Because as the teacher of the convention, those with some background would know who the teacher of the convention would be. The moment he was recognized, it would be troublesome. Thus, Dongbua Shuiying had to change his appearance and conceal his aura while walking in the Blade Emperor City. Blade Emperor City, within one of the many cavern dwellings that were specially used to receive important guests. Father! Xinghua Sunyi returned to his cavern dwelling. A black-haired male was currently seated alone in the courtyard. He had a majestic figure. Even sitting there, he was taller than Xinghua Sunyi by a head. Just by emitting a small amount of aura, he was able to obstruct the operation laws of the sacred world. Wherever he was, the laws of the sacred world would have to retreat. Xinghua Emperor was famous for being cold and tyrannical. But in front of his son, this coldness and tyranny was much weaker. Sunyi, Xinghua Emperor said, you are the son of Xinghua. This time, I have invited you to participate in the Star Convention. I hope that you will not embarrass me. Your big brother has already gotten through the 5th level Star Pagoda. I don't have a high requirement for you. Just get through the 3rd level Star Pagoda. I can't do it. Xinghua Sunyi calmly said. You can't even do this? I can give you any cultivation resources you want, yet you can't do it? Xinghua Emperor was slightly furious. Unless you still haven't forgotten that illusory wife of yours? How could I forget? How could I forget? Xinghua Sunyi stared at his father. I can't forget. If you feel that I will embarrass you, I can give up right now and not participate in the Star Convention. Xinghua Emperor was stunned. He had no other choice. That was why he forced his son to participate in the Star Convention. He hoped that his son would try his best in this gathering where many experts would gather. Go. Xinghua Emperor did not say anything else. Xinghua Sunyi turned around and left. Xinghua Emperor sat there silently. He was filled with regret. He had 2 sons. His youngest son had an extremely high talent. Even though he cultivated the bloodline system, he had also cultivated the ancient cultivation system. His youngest son specialized in the illusory realm and the ancient cultivation system. Cultivating both great systems at the same time, the ancient cultivation system was only slightly slower than the bloodline cultivation system. He spent 300 million years to step into the void god realm, and that made Xinghua Emperor ecstatic. The bloodline cultivation system depended on the father, but the ancient cultivation system had a high requirement on comprehension ability. Even though the father was formidable, and the children's comprehension ability would not be too bad, it still depended on the children themselves. But his son could become a void god in the illusory realm in 300 million years. He did not care about the price to find a precious treasure that could cultivate the illusory realm. It was worth a total of 10,000 origin world rocks. It was called the Boundary Stone. The Boundary Stone would naturally produce an illusory realm within. Furthermore, it was an extremely exquisite illusory realm. The illusory realm formed would be different every time. Studying it would allow one to study all sorts of profound mysteries of the illusory realm. After his son obtained it, he would frequently send his consciousness into the Boundary Stone to experience many illusory realms. Those illusory realms were extremely mysterious. The internal law system was comparable to that of a miniature cosmos. Furthermore, it would be different every time. Hence, after cultivating for 6 billion years, his son Xinghua Sunyi had reached the unity realm in the ancient cultivation system. But following that, something happened, the Boundary Stone. The illusory realm was too real. The worlds formed within were filled with countless lifeforms. They were just like the real world. They had spirituality, emotions, gratitude, and grudges. It was precisely because it was sufficiently real that the operating law of this illusory realm was comparable to that of a miniature cosmos. But his son, Xinghua Sunyi, had fallen in love with a girl within the illusory realm. Even though he knew it was fake, Xinghua Sunyi treated it as a child at the start. After all, he had experienced too many illusory realms and all sorts of emotions. This was also the reason why he was good at disguising. But even though he knew it was fake, as time passed, Xinghua Sunyi still fell into it. Because everything was too real. It had touched the inner heart of Xinghua Sunyi. He fell into it. He did not wish for it to end. He had always been living with that girl in the illusory realm. They had even become Tao companions. He had even thought of ways to let his wife live longer. In the illusory realm, his wife had indeed become stronger and lived for a long time. But ultimately, it was just an illusory realm. This illusory realm would eventually collapse, and the Boundary Stone would automatically create a new illusory realm. No, when the illusory realm collapsed. When his wife disappeared in front of him. Even though he had told his wife everything in the end, and she understood that she was a part of the illusory realm, she had accepted it. But Xinghua Sunyi could not accept it. The world in front of him collapsed. All living beings were destroyed. Even his wife was destroyed within. No! At that moment, Xinghua Sunyi had gone completely mad. Chapter 924. AI. Seated in the courtyard, Xinghua Emperor sighed. How good would it be if I did not give the Boundary Stone to Sunyi in the past? This son of his was practically crippled. He had thought of many methods, yet they were all useless. Because the heart injury had seeped into the essence of his soul. Even after sealing his memories, his son, Xinghua Sunyi, had a disgust towards cultivation from the depths of his soul. He was no longer willing to cultivate. He had even invited some primal case giants who specialized in the illusory realm to help him weave an illusory realm. It was futile to guide him through the illusory realm. If he wanted to cure the heart disease, he had to weave a similar illusory realm world. But other experts could not replicate the illusory realm world created by the Boundary Stone in the past. He had even asked several cosmos gods, yet the answer was the same. The heart injury had seeped into the essence of the soul, and it was too hard to recover. Like some transcendence, they would not be able to recover because of some huge setback. And Xinghua Sunyi was a Unity Realm genius. He was too powerful, and he specialized in the illusory realm. Such an expert would not easily be affected in his heart. But the moment his heart was truly injured, it would be 1,000,000,000 times harder to recover. It could even be said that external force was useless. There was only one way, to rely on Xinghua Sunyi himself. But how difficult was it to struggle out of this quagmire? I have always kept him by my side. Maybe I am wrong. I should borrow this star convention to let him go out and adventure. Who knows, there might be a miracle. Xinghua Emperor thought. He was powerful, yet he could not do anything when facing his son. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the star convention. So. Dongbu Shuiying and inquisitive Sky Hall Master flew side by side in the sky of the city. Many figures could be seen flying in the same direction. Within the Blade Emperor city, under the suppression of the unseen array, only those at the Unity Realm could fly. The layout of the venue for the Star Convention is not bad. Dongbu Shuiying could already see the huge venue. This venue was located close to the Star Pagoda. Because the location of the Star Pagoda was fixed, the Blade Emperor city could only set up the venue in a relatively vast region. By controlling space, one could discover that the venue, which was 500 kilometers wide, had been forcefully twisted into a 500,000 kilometers wide venue as one flew closer. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, Elder Dongbu, please. An expert immediately led the way. After approaching the venue, most people were forced to land quickly and had to enter through the main entrance. As for Dongbu Shuiying and Inquisitive Sky Palace Master, they were led to a towering platform in the distance. There were a total of 11 seats in the center of the platform, and a large number of seats on both sides. Elder Dongbu, please. Everyone's seats were already reserved. There were 11 seats at the center of the high platform. Seated at the centermost seat was the host of the Star Convention this time, Heart Imitation Religious Master. There were only 2 9th-level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos experts in the entire Blade Emperor city, and Heart Imitation Religious Master was one of them. Actually, with his identity and status, it was rare for him to host the Star Convention that happened once every 1,000,000,000 years. Nonetheless, there was a 9th-level Star Pagoda Strength General Hatchet Palace Master amongst the teachers of the convention this time. Since General Hatchet Palace Master was here, as the host of this event, Saber Emperor City naturally couldn't lower their head. Hence, Heart Imitation Religious Master personally came to host this event. To the left of Heart Imitation Religious Master were the 5 teachers of the convention. They were General Hatchet Palace Master, Violet Slaughter Island Master, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, General Heaven Light, and Dongbu Shuiying. To the right of him were the Primal Chaos guests that came from the holy grounds like Inquisitive Sky Palace Master, and the experts from the Star City. Other than the 11 seats at the center, there were some seats by the side for Primal Chaos giants that came from non-holy grounds. Even someone as powerful as Imperial Lord Xinghua, because he wasn't a member of a sacred land, was only able to sit at the side. This was the rule of the previous Star Convention. Only experts from the 6 great holy grounds could sit at the center. General Hatchet, who would have thought that you would come to be a teacher of the convention this time? Heart Imitation Religious Master chuckled. Heart Imitation Religious Master had a strange appearance. His face was thin and long, and his facial features were slightly ugly. But his aura was warm, and even those who were picky about appearances would feel joy from the bottom of their hearts when they saw him. It is time for me to come out and have a walk. I won't be able to find an opportunity to break through if I keep cultivating in closed-door cultivation, General Hatchet said. This final step is indeed hard for me to take. Heart Imitation Religious Master shook his head. He was once an outstanding cultivator, and was the most dazzling cultivator of an era. He was also one of the only 2 in the history of the 6 great holy grounds who had gotten through the 7th floor of Star Tower. He had also improved by leaps and bounds at the Primal Chaos realm. He was so confident that he even created a religion and spread his Tao wantonly. Countless cultivators worshipped him and obeyed his orders. Nevertheless, after reaching the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, the 9th level star pagoda, he stagnated here. Even though he knew that his attainments in certain aspects weren't any weaker than cosmos gods, if he did not take that final step, there would ultimately be a qualitative difference between him and cosmos gods. On the high platform of the Star Convention, the primal chaos giants were chatting in groups of 2s and 3s. The majority of them knew each other. As for Dongwu Shuang, he sat by the side of the central host seat. He remained silent. Because the person beside him was General Heaven Light. General Heaven Light's body was faintly covered in golden light. He was emitting a slight pressure that suppressed Dongwu Shuang by the side. This caused Dongwu Shuang's expression to change slightly. He isn't even restraining his pressure and is deliberately suppressing me? General Heaven Light was at the 8th level Star Pagoda strength. His pressure was relatively tyrannical. Dongwu Shuang directly controlled his law domain to forcefully obstruct the other party's pressure. One was suppressing, and the other was resisting. The relationship between both parties became even stiffer. A brat at the Unity Realm thinks he is qualified to stand on the same level as us? General Heaven Light glanced at Dongwu Shuang from the corner of his eyes. He was too lazy to look at him anymore, and was even more too lazy to speak. He was famous for being tyrannical even amongst primal chaos giants. He would directly berate and suppress some of the weaker primal chaos giants, much less those at the Unity Realm. In his eyes, Unity Realm experts were ants. Even his own disciples from Blade Emperor City were trembling in fear when facing General Heaven Light. Who would have thought that a Unity Realm expert would stand on the same level as him? General Heaven Light felt slightly embarrassed. It's a pity that this was decided by the cosmos gods, and he could not do anything about it. But for him to welcome Dongwu Shuang with a smile? That was impossible. Fellow cultivators! A warm voice reverberated across the entire venue as if it was ringing in the soul of everyone. Heart Imitation Religious Master chuckled as he began explaining the origin of the Star Convention and the rules of it. The process of the Star Convention was simple. First was the primary selection. More than 16,000 talented cultivators participating in the Star Convention would attempt the Star Pagoda. According to their results, the treasure spirit of the Star Pagoda would judge and select the top 100 strongest cultivators. The treasure spirit was absolutely fair. It was still able to rank the cultivators based on their strength. And the teacher of the convention would have 1,000 years to observe these talented cultivators. These talented cultivators could also come and seek guidance from the teacher of the convention. During this 1,000 years, the teacher of the convention would observe them thoroughly before picking out those who were weaker but filled with potential. Each teacher would pick out 20 of them. There would be a total of 100 of them. Through the selection of the teachers and the Star Pagoda, a total of 200 would be chosen. These 200 cultivators were qualified to enter the holy ground. But under such circumstances, they were ordinary disciples. After the primary selection, these 200 cultivators would be provided with resources, absolute art scriptures, guidance from experts, and others. They would cultivate for 10,000 years. Naturally, they would cultivate in a place where time was accelerated. In reality, they would cultivate for a total of 1,000,000 years. Even though the time was short, if they did not have good resources or guidance in the past, and had sufficient accumulation, most would be able to improve in this 1,000,000 years. Whether they could improve or not would depend on their potential. After the primary selection, they would cultivate for 10,000 years. After cultivating, these 200 cultivators would battle, and the top 5 would be decided through battle. Furthermore, after the battle ended, they would have to attempt the Star Pagoda once again. According to their results in the Star Pagoda and their performance during the final battle, the teacher of the convention would have a total of 10,000 years to observe them and even personally guide them. After 10,000 years, the final decision would be made and another 5 would be chosen. A total of 10. These 10 were the most outstanding geniuses chosen by the convention. They would be bestowed with resources and would be nurtured by the holy ground. Furthermore, they could choose to join any holy ground. Finally, the 5 teachers of the convention would give a public lecture on the Tao to many cultivators. After all, this was a supreme convention where geniuses were chosen, and many cultivators would come to spectate. This public lecture on the Tao was also a form of help to those loose cultivators. After the public lecture on the Tao, the entire convention came to an end. At the venue of the Star Convention, there were more than 16,000 talented cultivators below. They had rushed over from various sacred worlds and primal chaos void to participate in this Star Convention. Other than them, there were also a large number of cultivators spectating the convention. Just the residents of Blade Emperor City alone numbered in the billions. There were also those who specially rushed over. They were as dense as a sea, and they occupied 90% of the entire venue. Look, there is actually a Unity Realm cultivator up there. This is weird. They should all be primal chaos giants. Why is there a Unity Realm cultivator? Many cultivators spectating the convention looked at the high platform. On the platform, Dongbua Shuiying's position was extremely conspicuous. I heard that there is a Unity Realm expert amongst the teachers of the convention this time. At that moment, some of the more well-informed people began speaking. Chapter 925. Unity Realm? Don't speak nonsense. I have seen many star conventions in the Blade Emperor City, and every time, the teacher of the convention would be a primal chaos giant. Since when could a Unity Realm expert become a teacher of the convention? One has to know that those participating in the convention are all at the Unity Realm, and they are even geniuses. Letting a Unity Realm expert be their teacher? Right, I have never heard of it before. I have a regular customer at my restaurant who is a disciple of the Blade Emperor City. He was the one who told me that the teacher of the convention this time is at the Unity Realm, and his name is Dongbua Shuiying. He is from the Great Void Heaven Temple. The Great Void Heaven Temple's Dongbua Shuiying? Various places began discussing. After all, they were ordinary cultivators. Their information was more isolated, and only those who had cultivated for a long time and were famous enough would know of it. For instance, Dongbua Shuiying rose too quickly, and few of these ordinary cultivators knew of it. Only within the Blade Emperor City, some of their good friends were disciples of the Blade Emperor City. Only then would they understand the news. As they discussed, 1 to 10, and 10 to 100, they gradually gained some understanding of it. I've heard that in the 6 great holy grounds, in this current era, this elder Dongbua is considered the strongest Unity Realm expert, and is qualified to be the teacher of the convention. The strongest Unity Realm expert of the 6 great holy grounds. So what? The teachers of the convention are usually primal chaos giants, and it is said that ordinary primal chaos giants are not qualified. Only the strongest are qualified. Isn't it a joke for a Unity Realm expert to take on the role? Can his foresight be compared to the other 4 teachers? It's slightly lacking. What's the point of us talking about it here? These ordinary cultivators were discussing. If one said that they were instinctively fearful of primal chaos giants, then they were not fearful of Unity Realm experts. After all, Unity Realm experts were quite common. Letting a Unity Realm expert take on the role of a teacher of the convention was something these ordinary cultivators were unconvinced of. The primary selection of the Star Convention soon began. Dongbua Shuiying and the rest were all seated high up. There were also delicacies and good wine. As for the 16,000 genius cultivators below, they were all heading towards the Star Tower at the side of the venue in order to explore. The Star Pagoda would control the flow of time so that the battles could proceed faster. But even if it was accelerated by 100 times, only a few thousand cultivators would pass through in a single day. After all, they were thinking of ways to kill as many destruction devils as possible. Fortunately, they performed better in the Star Pagoda, allowing their rankings to be higher. First, the Firehorn Withered Tree. Second, Ka Senior. In the void next to the Star Tower, names appeared one by one. The list kept increasing, and the rankings kept changing. Clearly, the artifact spirit of the Star Tower was giving a new ranking based on every new cultivator who had passed the Star Tower. The rankings would definitely be made public. Firstly, it was fair. The second was to stimulate those genius cultivators. Thirdly, those at the bottom of the rankings also understood how far behind they were. After all, those who were qualified to come were all genius cultivators. In the past, they had seen very few geniuses, so they thought that they were extraordinary. The Star Convention this time would be a great stimulation for them. 5 days. The preliminaries, the Star Pagoda selection had ended. A detailed name list had been arranged. Amen? Dongbu Shuang looked up at the densely packed name list by the side of the Star Pagoda. The 3 brats I saw previously, Wu, the sons of Xinghua Emperor, their rankings are quite ordinary. That one called Fu Jun was ranked relatively high at the 126th rank. But he seemed to lack some luck. If he could kill his way into the top 100, he would be able to pass through the preliminaries without the teachers of the convention choosing him. Ni Yen, ranked 1932. Xinghua Sun Yi, ranked 3663. Ranked over 3000? Dongbu Shuang shook his head inwardly. That time, he coincidentally met 3 Unity Realm cultivators. He was most interested in that young master Xinghua, though his ranking was too ordinary. His ranking is so low. The preliminaries only select 200 cultivators. The possibility of him passing through the preliminaries is negligible. The Star Pagoda would select 100, and the 5 teachers of the convention would select 100. There would only be a total of 200 cultivators. 3663? Xinghua Emperor, who came to spectate from the high platform, frowned slightly. He sighed inwardly. This ranking was truly low. One had to know that those who came to participate were not disciples of the holy grounds. Most of them were rogue cultivators who roamed the world. There were very few who had a huge background. This son of his was considered to have good cultivation resources, yet he was only ranked this way. The son of Xinghua Emperor would only be evaluated lower when the teachers of the convention chose him. The Star Pagoda selection had ended. Countless ordinary cultivators who came to spectate began to leave. After all, the teacher selection would take 1,000 years, and cultivation would take another 10,000 years. In other words, the next public battle would be held 11,000 years later. On the high platform, one by one, they stood up and left. 5 teachers. Heart Imitation Religious Master took the initiative to speak to the 5 teachers of the convention. The Star Pagoda selection has ended, and there is a ranking. In a while, their battle videos will be sent to you. You have to choose well. Your choice will determine the fate of these geniuses. Big Brother Heart Imitation, rest assured. We will naturally be cautious and choose those with great potential. General Heaven Light said. Elder Dongbua, don't throw the face of your great void heaven temple. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor said coldly. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor was draped in a black robe. He emitted a cold aura, and his voice was cold and sharp. General Hatchet Palace Master by the side was startled. The beautiful Violet Slaughter Island Master was also slightly startled. These words were truly overboard. Dongbu Shuiying's expression changed slightly. Honestly speaking, he originally had a good impression of 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor because the other party was a member of the Void God Temple. The Void Primogenitor was his teacher. It was fine if General Heaven Light did not treat him well, but this 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor spoke so viciously, and there was a group of primal chaos giants around. If he were to reveal his identity as a Void Walker, the attitude of 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor might change. But because Sacred Master had always wanted to chase after his teacher, Gu Qi, Dongbu Shuang would not deliberately reveal his identity as a Void Walker. There is no need for you to trouble 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, Dongbu Shuang said. Since the various cosmos gods have chosen me, they naturally have their reasons. Humph. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor snorted before turning around and leaving. Actually, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor's reputation outside was not bad. He could be considered as someone who hated evil like an enemy, though he was relatively cold. But being a void creature, he was used to the strong and the weak. In his opinion, the Unity Realm Dongbu Shuang was not on the same level as them at the Primal Chaos Realm. He naturally did not like him, and was too lazy to give him any face. The various cosmos gods have chosen you. Don't disappoint them. General Heaven Light looked at Dongbu Shuang with a smile that did not seem like one before leaving. Dongbu Shuang did not say anything. Suddenly, he felt a hand landing on his shoulder. This startled Dongbu Shuang. He immediately turned over. General Hatchet Palace Master was thin and white. Even though he had 2 fangs, it gave others the feeling that his body was weak. He chuckled. There are all kinds of tempers among cultivators. Don't mind the 2 of them too much. General Hatchet Palace Master. Dongbu Shuang bowed. This was not the first time he met General Hatchet Palace Master. The other party was on the same level as Black Emperor and Primal Chaos Hall Master. Dongbu Brat, I stand by your side too. The beautiful violet-robed Violet Slaughter Island Master chuckled. Her voice was melodious. I do not like that Heaven Light either. In the future, if you are stronger than him, you must teach him a good lesson and help me vent my anger. Heart Imitation Religious Master was still present by the side. He felt slightly awkward when he heard that because General Heaven Light was from their Blade Emperor city. Fellow cultivators, let us go. Heart Imitation Religious Master chuckled. At the same time, he gave a friendly smile to Dongbu Shuang. Chapter 926. Night. Dongbu Shuang sat alone in the courtyard. There were battle projections in front of him. They were the battle projections of those talented cultivators, challenging the Star Pagoda. There were female attendants by the side, helping to boil and pour wine for him. He held the wine cup and lightly drank a mouthful. His body is quite strong. He should be from the strongest warrior system. Dongbu Shuang observed and evaluated in his heart. Being a teacher of the convention isn't an easy task. Just watching the battle images of more than 10,000 genius cultivators and analyzing and evaluating their strength was not easy, let alone considering their background, origins, and age. Even though most of them were instantly eliminated, there were still over 1,000 that needed to be carefully considered. They had their own cultivation experiences, different strengths, and different areas of expertise. This person actually only got through the first level of Star Pagoda? Too weak. Dongbu Shuang was instantly eliminated. Even if his cultivation conditions were bad, and he did not have any absolute art, as long as his comprehension ability was high enough, he should not be at the bottom of the first level after reaching the Unity Realm. This time, there were over 10,000 talented cultivators. There was one who got through the 4th level of Star Pagoda. His name was Tsangqiong Tianyun. He cultivated for 1.2 trillion years and was purely a loose cultivator. He had never received guidance from any formidable experts. He had long attracted the attention of the 6 great holy grounds. After all, if not for the countless scriptures and resources provided by the Great Void Heaven Temple, Dongbu Shuang might not have such achievements even if he cultivated for 1 trillion years. Of course, it was possible that his achievements were higher than Tsangqiong Tianyun's. There were a total of 392 who got through the 3rd level of Star Pagoda. There were a total of 4,018 who got through the 2nd level of Star Pagoda. The remaining were all those who got through the 1st level of Star Pagoda. After all, they were at the Unity Realm, and it was impossible for them to not get through the 1st level. Elder. A guard walked in from outside the courtyard. He respectfully reported, Monarch Hidden Dragon is seeking an audience with you outside the residence. Hurry up and invite him in. Dongbu Shuang hurriedly said. He then reacted. He stood up and took the initiative to walk out. In his heart, he was muttering, this is the biggest problem in choosing talented cultivators. The 6 great sacred grounds were very cautious in accepting disciples, and there were too few of them. The Star Convention was a rare opportunity to enter the 6 great sacred grounds. Once they entered, even if they couldn't obtain any resources, it would still be an invisible life-saving talisman. After all, once the enemy heard that they were disciples of the 6 great holy lands, they would be afraid. If their statuses were high enough, even cosmos gods would not easily kill them, much less primal chaos existences. As for the 5 teachers, what kind of status did General Hatchet Palace Master have? General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and Violet Slaughter Island Master were all extremely strong existences at the 8th level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos Realm. It was too difficult to seek their help. On the surface, Dongbu Shuang, who was only at the Unity Realm, seemed to be the easiest to defeat. I have long given the order to not meet any Unity Realm experts. Dongbu Shuang thought, but I can't possibly not meet Primal Chaos Realm experts. He could be considered the strongest Unity Realm expert in the 6 sacred grounds. The other Unity Realm experts were not to be seen because it was not targeted at an individual, but all Unity Realm experts. Those Unity Realm experts who wanted to see him would not be too angry. But it was different for Primal Chaos Giants. They were already giving a lot of face by personally paying a visit to a Unity expert. If they were to reject him, they would be going overboard. Fortunately, there are very few talented cultivators who have a Primal Chaos Realm Giant behind the back of the Star Convention. There are even fewer who came to visit me. I can count them with my fingers. Dongbu Shuang thought. It was still fine to deal with them since there were few of them. At the entrance of the residence, there stood a seemingly wooden male. He seemed ordinary, and his aura was completely hidden. If one did not know him, one would not think that he was the famous Monarch Hidden Dragon. Even though Monarch Hidden Dragon did not rely on any sacred ground superpower, he had taken the initiative to head to the boundary of the void. He had killed many destruction devils and was extremely valiant, earning the admiration of many Primal Chaos Realm Giants. He was straightforward, loyal, and did not care about his life for a promise. Dongbu Shuang admired him a lot too. Monarch Hidden Dragon. Dongbu Shuang greeted. I have disturbed Elder by coming. Who would have thought that Elder would take the initiative to welcome me? Monarch Hidden Dragon chuckled. It is my honor for Monarch to come and meet me. How would I dare to slight you? Monarch, please. The other party was being courteous. Naturally, Dongbu Shuang would not put on airs. He welcomed Monarch Hidden Dragon into the cavern dwelling. The 2 of them sat down in the courtyard. A female attendant had prepared a wine set by the side and poured some good wine for Monarch Hidden Dragon. You can withdraw first, Dongbu Shuang ordered. Yes. The female attendant retreated. Monarch Hidden Dragon chuckled. I know Elder is very busy now. I shall not waste your time. I came here hoping for Elder to help me with something. He is here. Dongbu Shuang grumbled inwardly. Please say. Dongbu Shuang said. This time, there was indeed a disciple of Monarch Hidden Dragon who participated in the Star Convention. He was ranked over 600. It's just that he had cultivated for a long time, a total of 1.8 trillion years. Furthermore, he was personally taught by Monarch Hidden Dragon. Hence, those ranked in front were naturally more qualified to be chosen. He is called Chenqiong, Monarch Hidden Dragon said. Ah. Dongbu Shuang was startled. Chenqiong? This wasn't Monarch Hidden Dragon's disciple. It was another rogue cultivator without any background. He is the personal disciple of an old friend of mine. Monarch Hidden Dragon sighed. My old friend is only at the Unity Realm. This time, I brought my disciple here. When I saw this little fellow Chenqiong, I immediately recognized his relationship with my good friend. It's a pity that my good friend has already died. He was the disciple that my good friend took in before his death. When my good friend died, this little fellow had only just become a true god. After that, he relied on himself to cultivate until now. I have tested him before. His potential and comprehension are above that of my disciple. Hence, I shamelessly came here, hoping to give this little fellow a chance. Chenqiong? Dongbu Shuang naturally remembered this little fellow. His ranking was very low. He was ranked 2001st. However, his cultivation time was extremely short. He had only cultivated for a mere 80 billion years. As a rogue cultivator, his cultivation time was not even 100 billion years. It was already very shocking. His cultivation time is very short. In this Star Convention, in terms of cultivation time, he is ranked second. Dongbua Shuang said. Although his ranking is slightly lower, his potential is extremely high. Even if Monarch Hidden Dragon didn't look for me, the possibility of him being chosen by the 5 teachers of the convention is extremely high. I know. If his potential isn't enough, I wouldn't have come. Monarch Hidden Dragon said. I'm just afraid of an accident. After all, there are many geniuses this time around. I will study it carefully. If I can help, I will do my best. Dongbua Shuang didn't say anything definite. After all, he had not seen the majority of the battle recordings of these genius cultivators. All right. Monarch Hidden Dragon stood up and smiled. Then I shall not disturb you any further. Dongbua Shuang immediately sent Monarch Hidden Dragon off. This Monarch Hidden Dragon sure is easy to talk to. After the other party left, Dongbua Shuang continued to watch the battle recordings in the courtyard. I thought that he would come to persuade me for his disciple. To think that he is actually the disciple of an old friend. Furthermore, he is someone with extremely high potential. Because a full 1,000 years had passed. Some of those who wanted to persuade Monarch Hidden Dragon were not in a rush. Instead, on the first day, Monarch Hidden Dragon visited 5 teachers of the convention, asking them to help him pay attention to Qinqiong. And the last teacher he visited, General Hatchet Palace Master, said directly, Ha ha ha, Brother Hidden Dragon, rest assured. I will directly choose this brat Qinqiong. This time, I took the initiative to become a teacher of the convention because I want to find 1 or 2 disciples. I quite like this brat Qinqiong. If fate allows it, he might become my personal disciple. Monarch Hidden Dragon was instantly delighted. Haha, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't need to look for the other 4 teachers of the convention. But after thinking about it, he discovered that Qinqiong's battle style was indeed similar to General Hatchet Palace Master. You don't have to worry about Qinqiong. It's just that your own disciple seems to have ordinary potential. General Hatchet Palace Master shook his head. How can all of them be amazing? Monarch Hidden Dragon did not seem to care. And in the following days there were 2 consecutive primal chaos giants who came to visit Dongbua Shuang. It's just that the talented cultivators they wanted to ask for help were far inferior to Qinqiong in terms of potential. Furthermore, according to the judgment of Dongbua Shuang, they could not even enter the top 300. Even though he had decided to exclude them in his heart, he did not say anything on the surface. Still, he did not agree to it. A month after the Star Convention was held, Elder Xinghua Emperor has come to visit. Even the Protector did not dare to say the words seeking an audience. Xinghua Emperor? Dongbua Shuang was greatly startled. This was in existence at the 9th level Star Pagoda strength, and even Cosmos gods had to treat him politely. Bitter. That son of his has cultivated for a longer period, yet his ranking is too low. Dongbua Shuang felt bitter in his heart. He already had a good impression of Xinghua Sunyi before the convention. It's just that the other party's performance was too ordinary. In terms of potential, he was ranked outside the top 1,000. Chapter 927. Dongbua Shuang cried bitterly in his heart, but he still went to the entrance of the cave to welcome him. Greetings, Emperor, Shuang added. But he was clear that it was not just him. Even Heaven Weeping Sect Master and the others had to be respectful when facing Monarch Xinghua. Just like how he could easily slaughter many Unity Realm experts, even though the gap between the Primal Chaos Realm was not as exaggerated as Unity Realm. Although the gap between Primal Chaos Realm experts was not as wide as the gap between Unity Realm experts, Xinghua Emperor and Primal Chaos Hall Master could kill ordinary Primal Chaos Realm experts in a single move. Elder Dongbua, there's no need to be so courteous. It was rare for Xinghua Emperor to be so courteous. After all, he was famous for being cold and tyrannical. Emperor, please. The 2 of them came to the courtyard and sat down. Xinghua Emperor said with a frown. This time, I do have something to trouble Elder Dongbua. Dongbua Shuang muttered in his heart. What kind of identity did you, Xinghua Emperor, have? If he was truly willing to force his son into a holy ground superpower, be it the Great Void Heaven Temple, Primogenitor Island, Blade Emperor City, or any other holy ground superpower, they would all be willing to befriend Monarch Xinghua. Why did you need to participate in the Star Convention and ask for my help? The Star Convention was an open convention, and the name list he chose had to be made public. Xinghua Sunyi had cultivated for more than 500 billion years. He was ranked in the 3600s, and he was the son of Xinghua Emperor. In terms of potential, he was unquestionably ranked outside the top 1000. If it was strictly judged, he would be ranked outside the top 5000. If his potential was ranked in the hundreds, it was fine if he was chosen. But for someone ranked outside the top 5000, he would definitely be mocked if he was chosen. Dongbui Shuiying was not willing to do that. Because I am the easiest to persuade among the 5 teachers? Dongbui Shuiying felt helpless, but he could not be rude on the surface. I hope that Elder Dongbui will not spread this matter. After all, it is a shameful matter, Xinghua Emperor said. Dongbui Shuiying thought to himself. So you also know that it's shameful and shameful? He even told him not to spread the news. Once he made his choice, everyone would know. Listen to me carefully, Xinghua Emperor said in a low voice. My son, Sunyi, besides the bloodline cultivation system, also cultivates ancient cultivation. After all, I am only at the primal chaos realm, and my son's bloodline cultivation system is at most at the unity realm. Thus, he is quite diligent in his ancient cultivation. In just 300 million years, he has reached the void god level in ancient cultivation. What? Dongbui Shuiying was shocked. 300 million years? Even if he had a powerful master to guide him, this kind of speed was too terrifying. The golden-robed disciples of the Great Void Heaven Temple had been stuck at the true God ruler realm for a long time. Even though the laws and profound mystery system was relatively harder, it was too heaven-defying for an ancient cultivator to reach the void god realm in just 300 million years. I was incomparably excited at that time, thinking that it is possible for my son to reach the primal chaos realm in the future. Haha, for both father and son to reach the primal chaos realm, that would be a wonderful story. Xinghua Emperor gave a self-mocking laugh. At that time, I did not hesitate to exchange for treasures and obtain the unique treasure, the Boundary Stone. Boundary Stone? Dongbui Shuiying felt his heart move. This was a supreme treasure for cultivating the illusory realm. He wanted to get it too, but firstly, the price of this unique treasure was ridiculously high. Secondly, it was unique. I forgot to tell you. My son specializes in the illusory realm and the ancient cultivation system. Xinghua Emperor began describing in detail. By relying on the Boundary Stone, his cultivation has indeed soared. In just a short 6 billion years he had stepped into the unity realm in the ancient cultivation system. But, Dongbui Shuiying listened carefully. As he listened, he became dumbstruck. He actually fell in love with a girl from the illusory realm, and even fell into it, becoming Tao companions with her. Hearing Xinghua Emperor's description, Dongbui Shuiying could imagine how Xinghua Sunyi was suffering when that girl knew she was a part of the illusory realm, and calmly faced death. When the illusory realm collapsed, everything was crumbling. His true love was crumbling too. How mad would Xinghua Sunyi be? I've asked Cosmos gods before, and they all said that my son's heart injury has permeated into his soul. It is hard for external forces to save him, and he has to rely on himself. Xinghua Emperor said. I came to find Elder Dongbui. I know that you are the strongest genius in the illusory realm since the primitive ancient sacred world until now. Hence, I want to ask Elder Dongbui if you have any methods to save my son? He was the strongest genius in the illusory realm in the primitive ancient sacred world until now. What identity did Xinghua Emperor have? What he said was logical. Currently, those at the unity realm who could fight against Dongbui Shuiying in the illusory realm could be counted with one's fingers. But the others were all ancient cultivators and relied on their talent. And before Dongbui Shuiying got the Cinnabar inheritance, he merely cultivated in the laws and profound mysteries system. He forcefully pushed the Tao of Mirage to this level, and after getting the Cinnabar inheritance, he easily improved on Cinnabar's inheritance. Was improving it easy? Not at all. Why could Dongbu Shuang do it? It was because the difficulty of reaching the 6th floor of Star Tower by relying on his talent in ancient cultivation was different from reaching the 6th level in the Tao of Mirage. The laws and profound mysteries system required one to research the essence of the system and grasp the operating laws and profound mysteries. Then, by relying on the Tao of Mirage, one could create all sorts of absolute arts. But ancient cultivation was different. Ancient cultivation did not require one to comprehend it completely. As long as one could execute it, it would be a success. There was no need to delve into all the profound mysteries behind it. Hence, the laws and profound mysteries system and the hex cultivation system were famous for being hard to cultivate. But they were also famous for being powerful. Most Unity Realm experts of these two great systems would only reach the 3rd level Star Pagoda strength. Ancient cultivation relied more on talent and inheritance. Those who were heaven-defying were extremely heaven-defying, and those who were weak were very weak. Hence, in history, Dongbu Shuang was the only Unity Realm expert who could reach this stage in the illusory realm. He was the only one who had researched the laws and profound mysteries of the illusory realm. Furthermore, he cultivated for a very short period, just a few tens of billions of years. It was logical for Xinghua Emperor to say that he was the strongest genius in the illusory realm in the history of the primitive ancient sacred world. If he knew that Dongbu Shuang was close to stepping into the primal chaos realm in the Tao of Mirage, he would likely be more excited. Dongbu Shuang's attainments in the Tao of Mirage were clearly higher than what Xinghua Emperor knew. You are a cultivator of the laws and profound mysteries, and you specialize in the illusory realm. Xinghua Emperor looked at Dongbu Shuang. I'm just trying to find a doctor in a desperate situation. I have no other way. That is why I'm asking if Elder Dongbu has any ideas. Boundary Stone. Dongbu Shuang softly shook his head. How can you use it so casually? Even though you can research different illusory realm worlds, and you are also the master of the illusory realm world, and you can investigate the operation of everything, it will be helpful to your cultivation. But the stronger the illusory realm world, the more realistic it will be. And Xinghua Sun Yi's experience in the illusory realm is insufficient. Even though he can easily escape from the illusory realm as the master of the illusory realm, it will be bad if he falls into it. If it was an enemy, he would fall into the illusory realm forever, and his life and death would be controlled by others. But even if it was the master of the illusory realm, the moment he fell into it, it would have a huge impact on his soul. The strength of the soul was very mysterious. Reaching the level of an expert, once he thought he was dead, his soul would crumble and he would die. Emotions were hard to explain. If he really fell into it, if someone knew about it early on and forced him out, it might still be fine. But without anyone stopping him, Xinghua Sun Yi fell deeper and deeper. He even maintained it with his wife until the entire illusory realm entered the great apocalypse. I am too confident in my son, Xinghua Emperor regretted. It was because he knew too little about illusory realm cultivation. On the other hand, he was ruthless to himself. He felt that he had to be ruthless to his son if he wanted to have great accomplishments. Is there any way? Xinghua Emperor asked. There's no way. I've never faced such a situation before. Dongbu Shuang shook his head. He too had a Tao companion, and he could imagine how serious Xinghua Sun Yi's injuries were. It was already not bad that he did not go crazy. Let's try, Xinghua Emperor added. He had tried many times, and all the people he invited were extremely powerful existences. In his opinion, Dongbu Shuang was the strongest genius in history in the illusory realm. If he reached the primal chaos realm in the Tao of Mirage, he would be the only primal chaos realm giant in the laws and profound mysteries system. He would have a deeper understanding of the illusory realm. Let's try. No matter what, you should meet him and see if there's any way, Xinghua Emperor said. Dongbu Shuang could only nod. What else could he do when the Xinghu Emperor made such a request for his son? All right, let Xinghu Suni come over as soon as possible. I'll have a good chat with him. I'm not confident, but I'll definitely try my best, Dongwu Shuang said. I'll have to trouble you. Xinghu Emperor was extremely polite. He had long prepared himself. Even if Dongwu Shuang could not help him this time, in the future, when Dongwu Shuang reached a higher attainment in the Tao of Mirage, he would still have to ask him for help. Naturally, he had to maintain a good relationship with him. As for joining the holy grounds, Xinghu Emperor did not care about it. What he hoped to see the most was for his son to recover from his heart injury, be reborn and soar into the sky. That day was something he wished to see even in his dreams. Chapter 928. Early the next morning, the sun rose. The rays of the sun shone through the arrays of the Saber Emperor city, turning even gentler as it shone on the countless buildings in the city. Suni. Just as he was prepared to leave the residence, he saw a majestic figure sitting in the courtyard. Xinghu Suni immediately greeted. Father, Xinghu Emperor said, I met Elder Dongbo yesterday. His attainments in the Tao of Mirage are the highest in history among all the cultivators of the laws and profound mysteries system. When he cultivates the Dark World and the Cinnabar inheritance, he can push his strength to the level of the 6th floor of Star Tower. Cinnabar's inheritance was originally at the peak of the Unity Realm, but he can improve it himself. He's already half a foot into the 7th floor of Star Tower, and he's only been cultivating for tens of billions of years. From the primitive ancient sacred world until now, he's definitely the most incredible genius in the field of illusions. Go find him. He might have a way to help you, Xinghu Emperor said. He helped me? Xinghu Suni frowned. I've seen primal chaos giants who specialize in the illusory realm before, yet none of them could do anything. Does Dongwu Shuang have a solution? Previously, those primal chaos giants who specialized in the illusory realm were all ancient cultivators, Xinghu Emperor said coldly. The ancient cultivation system is completely different from the system of laws and profound mysteries. For the ancient cultivation system, as long as one can display sufficient power, it can be considered a success. The laws and profound mysteries system, on the other hand, focuses on researching the profound mysteries behind it. They have truly grasped the most fundamental profound mysteries, and their understanding of illusions is deeper. Xinghu Suni was stunned. He then nodded slightly. He agreed with that. Different systems indeed led to different directions. For example, the Devour class system did not need to use its brain at all in the early stages. It only needed to eat, and its strength would continue to increase. As for the laws and profound mysteries system, at the transcendent stage, one needed to study the profound mysteries of the world. One had to grasp the complete laws of the world before they could transcend and step into the true God stage. He had to grasp the complete law system before he could become a void God. Similarly, the difficulty of becoming a void God in the laws and profound mysteries system was many times higher than the Devour class system. Even the witchcraft cultivation system, which was also extremely difficult, belonged to two different directions compared to the laws and profound mysteries system. The laws and profound mysteries system pointed directly at the essence, delving into the core of the world, the laws and profound mysteries. Witchcraft cultivators, on the other hand, felt that they could find the essence of the world from all things. As the world evolved, many rules were reflected in all things. They felt that the system of laws and profound mysteries was too abstract, and that studying all things was a down-to-earth way of accumulating knowledge step by step. Once they had accumulated enough knowledge, they could make their bodies stronger, their souls more powerful, and they could even reach an extremely high realm in formations and refining treasures. All right, I'll go, Xinghu Suni answered. Although he couldn't forget it, he knew in his heart that it was just an illusory world. He should be excited and cultivate to become stronger. But, now, he was instinctively filled with disgust towards cultivation. Whenever he tried to cultivate, he would think of cultivating in the illusory world and his wife who was destroyed along with him when the illusory world collapsed. This kind of heartache made him loathe everything related to the illusory world. This was already an instinct that he couldn't control. Don't be negligent, the Xinghu Emperor said. Even if he can't help you this time, as the one with the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage, as his cultivation improves, he might be able to help you in the future. Amen. Xinghu Suni walked out. When Xinghu Suni went to seek an audience, Dongbu Shuang had already gone out to eat delicacies. There were many restaurants in Blade Emperor City, and those ancient cultivators who were talented in culinary arts could cook delicacies that could even make a great expert like Dongbu Shuang sigh in admiration. Naturally, he would go there frequently to taste their delicacies. Ah! Dongbu Shuang immediately saw the golden-robed young man who was waiting silently at the entrance of the mansion. As the teachers of the convention, it was very common for geniuses to seek an audience and guidance. Usually, the teachers of the convention wouldn't reject them. Borrowing the guidance, they could also better observe the geniuses. But why was Xinghu Suni paying a visit? Greetings, elder. The golden-robed young man immediately bowed respectfully. Xinghu Suni? Come in. Dongbu Shuang smiled. Yes. The golden-robed young man was obedient and polite. Nothing could be seen on his face. After the two entered the cavern dwelling, Dongbu Shuang sat down in the courtyard, while Xinghu Suni obediently stood by the side. Your father has already told me about you, Dongbu Shuang said directly. Elder, do you have any ideas? Xinghu Suni looked at Dongbu Shuang. Let's give it a try. Dongbu Shuang smiled. Xinghu Suni felt that Dongbu Shuang's smile was magnified in front of his eyes, and following that, he became completely lost. When he entered the world of the Boundary Stone, he was the master of the illusory realm. That was why he could maintain his consciousness. But now that Dongbu Shuang had unleashed his illusory realm, Xinghu Suni instantly lost himself. Let's see if I can borrow the illusory realm to change him. Dongbu Shuang thought, even though other primal chaos giants who specialized in illusory realms had acted before, those primal chaos giants are all ancient cultivators. Their control over illusory realms isn't as detailed as mine. He was also an ancient cultivator. For instance, the illusory realm within the Cinnabar inheritance had long been fixed. That was why he could continuously attack it. But his control over it was slightly lacking. Dongbu Shuang sat there tasting his fruit wine. By the side, Xinghu Suni sat there in a daze. He was completely immersed in the illusory realm. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. 2 hours had passed in the real world. But in the illusory realm, Dongbu Shuang had made him experience a total of 1,000 reincarnations, of which a few hundred of them were related to emotions, the righteousness of the nation and the race, the relationship between his teacher and his parents. All sorts of shocking emotions had affected him. Xinghu Suni's eyes gradually regained clarity. Are you feeling better? Dongbu Shuang asked. Elder's techniques are indeed formidable. Xinghu Suni lightly shook his head. In the illusory realm, I have forgotten about the past. That is a brand new experience, just like a dream. After having 1,000 dreams, I woke up from the dream. When I met my wife, I experienced everything under my absolute consciousness. Every single scene had been carved into my soul with a blade. Dongbu Shuang's expression changed slightly. That's right. Forgetting about the past within the illusory realm was indeed like a dream. When one woke up, the memories from the dream would impact his memories. Naturally, the impact was far from what he experienced under his absolute consciousness. I know that everything that happened between me and my wife happened in the illusory realm. I also feel that it is a joke. There have even been experts who helped me seal my memories. I would rather seal them completely, but it's useless. Memories can be sealed, but the influence of emotions on the soul can't be changed. I still hate cultivation. Even Cosmos gods said that it is better for me to recover my memories. Only when I face this period of experience would my body transform. Only then would it be considered a success. Xinghu Suni's voice was gentle. A smile appeared on his face. It was a gentle smile. Even though others might find it a joke, the time I spent with my wife in the illusory realm is the most beautiful time of my life. I can't forget it. My rationality told me that I should not be affected. I have also promised my wife not to be troubled by her. I want to be motivated and properly cultivate. Xing Huasuni shook his head. It's useless. Everything is useless. Dongbua Shuang looked at the young man in front of him from the side. This young man had a great talent, yet he had to suffer from this calamity. Truth and false, false and true. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. We think that everything in the illusory realm is fake. But what exactly is real? The beings in the illusory realm have their parents and loved ones, race and nation. They have love and hate, and they know how to cultivate. To themselves, they think that they are real, right? Xing Huasuni was stunned. Right. Only when he told his wife everything, and how he used his identity as the master of the illusory realm to control the illusory realm, did his wife believe that this vast world was an illusory realm, and she was part of the illusory realm. And before this, all beings in the illusory realm were evolving normally. The weak would grow old and die, and the strong would cultivate and battle. They are independent living beings with memories and emotions. Dongbua Shuang said. Actually, they can be considered unique true beings, just that they live in the illusory realm. True? True? Xing Huasuni's eyes brightened. His face turned slightly red. My wife is a true living being? Including his father and the other primal case giants who specialized in illusory realm, none had mentioned this point. Xing Huasuni also thought that it was an illusory realm. Life. What is a true life? They are independent beings with memories, emotions, gratitude, and hatred. Are they not true living beings? Dongbua Shuang said. Unless they must have a soul? Like the metallic life forms and other unique life forms, they do not have a soul. They have other life cores. And your wife is the spiritual light that they form in the illusory realm. That is their life core. Only with a life core could one have independent memories, emotions, and even cultivate. Ordinary illusory realms were naturally not that formidable. The illusory realm created by the boundary stone was much more profound than what Dongbua Shuang had. Its internal operating laws were at the level of a miniature cosmos, and it was just a step away from a true cosmos. Many living beings were born within, and all of them were incomparably real. That's right. They have a life core and are independent. They have memories, emotions, gratitude, and hatred. They can cultivate. Right, they are all true living beings. Xing Huasuni nodded. His voice was slightly trembling. My wife is real. She truly exists. Chapter 929. Now that he felt that his wife was real, Xing Huasuni became much more excited. Dongbua Shuang continued. Once the Tao of Mirage reaches the primal chaos level, the illusory realm world that one can unleash is comparable to the inner world of the boundary stone. Reaching the cosmos god level, he could even unleash the mirage cosmos. The illusory universe would turn into a real universe. What if I take it a step further and my Tao of Mirage reaches an even higher level? An even higher level? Xing Huasuni was puzzled. Weren't cosmos gods the final realm existences? In my laws and profound mysteries system, the true ultimate goal isn't the cosmos god realm. Instead, it is the supreme operating law, Dongbua Shuang said. This was something he gradually understood after reaching a higher realm. The goal of the laws and profound mysteries system was to pry into the essence of the world and grasp the operating laws. The supreme rule was the ultimate goal. Were the laws of the universe supreme? No. The laws of the primitive ancient sacred world were the supreme laws, which were the primal chaos void laws of today. The primal chaos void contained countless universes, primal chaos lands, and the 5 great sacred worlds. The 5 great sacred worlds might sound nice, but in reality, other than the ancient sacred world, which was a remnant piece of approximately 1% of the original ancient sacred world, the other 4 great sacred worlds were created by cosmos gods. The operating laws could not be compared to the primal chaos void laws. Becoming a cosmos god was the final stage of many systems, and was also publicly acknowledged as the final existence. However, the Laws and Profound Mysteries system targeted the supreme law, the primal chaos void law. For example, the witchcraft cultivation system was also a system that studied the core essence of all things. For example, Wu Zhu had reached his current realm, but he was still studying it. Supreme operating laws? Xing Huasuni was slightly shocked. Cosmos gods merely grasp the operating laws of the cosmos. How can they compare with the primal chaos void law? Shuang said. This is the true supreme operating law that encompasses everything. If the operating law of the Tao of Mirage reaches the supreme level, I'm afraid he'll be able to control the entire primal chaos void. At that time, as the controller of the supreme laws, he'll be able to create everything in the primal chaos void. Dongbua Shuang smiled. It's not impossible to turn illusions into reality and bring your wife back to life. Yes, 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 yes. Xing Huasuni's eyes completely lit up. What kind of realm was that? The operating laws of the Tao of Mirage had reached the highest level. Such a mirage world was actually already at the level of the primitive ancient sacred world, primal chaos void. As the owner, a single thought could create everything within it, and everything that was born within it would also be an absolutely real existence. Actually, Dongbua Shuang chuckled. With a flick of his finger, an illusory world appeared before him. Gold, silver, stones, soil, and other common objects began to form within it. Following that, these items began to turn from illusory to real. Gold, silver, stones, soil, and other objects also appeared. Turning illusions into reality isn't difficult for me at my current level, Dongbua Shuang said. It's just that reincarnation requires a higher realm. Who knows, it might be possible to achieve it after reaching the cosmos god level in the Tao of Mirage. Amen, amen. Xing Huasuni nodded. His eyes were shining. He felt his entire body heating up and his soul burning. Agitated, surging, with a soaring fighting spirit. In the past, he wanted to suppress this heart-wrenching memory and cheer himself up. However, this was his incomparably beautiful and unforgettable memory. Now, he felt that his wife was real. No matter how others saw it, at least under Dongbua Shuiying's theory, Xing Huasuni felt that his wife could be considered a real life. Furthermore, he even saw hope. Perhaps once his Tao of Mirage reached the cosmos god level, he might be able to turn illusions into reality, allowing his wife to reincarnate. Putong! Xing Huasuni immediately knelt down. Many thanks for Elder Dongbua's guidance. I do hope for Elder to accept me as your disciple and impart the cultivation technique of the Tao of Mirage to me. He understood that a pure ancient cultivator would not have a deep understanding of the illusory realm laws. Only those who focused on the essence of the Tao of Mirage would be confident of achieving what he wanted. As for the Tao of Mirage, it was naturally Dongbua Shuang who had the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage in the history of the Laws and Profound Mysteries system. He was most suitable to be his teacher. It is still too early for you to become my disciple. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. Flipping his hand, he brought out a translucent golden book and passed it to Xing Huasuni. This is an absolute art I created for the Tao of Mirage. But currently, there are only the first 3 styles. You should cultivate it first and see your potential before I decide whether to accept you as my disciple. Experts in the Great Void Heaven Temple would usually create their own absolute arts and leave them in the Myriad Elephant Palace Hall. As Dongbua Shuang cultivated, he gradually had this incomplete absolute art Mirage. Mirage First Style, World Prison. It was possible to cultivate it at the Void Origin Birth Realm, though it was very difficult. It had the power of the 3rd level Star Pagoda. Second Style, Illusory Shadow Annihilation. It had the power of the 4th level Star Pagoda, and could only be cultivated at the Unity Realm. Third Style, Dark Bubble. It had the power of the 5th level Star Pagoda. It was also a move created by Dark World Master. Dongbua Shuang had merely modified and simplified it slightly. Dongbua Shuang felt that this move was not bad. As for the stronger Sky Punishment Edge, he was not satisfied with it. Because this move could be dodged by the enemies. But the dark bubble would descend and envelop the enemies, making it impossible for them to dodge. Thus, he was trying to create a move that could reach the power of the 6th floor of Star Tower, one that the enemies could not dodge at all. The multi-layered dark world could barely do it, but it consumed too much heart energy. Dongbua Shuang was not satisfied with it. Thank you, Elder. After learning this absolute art, Xinghua Sun Yi was filled with gratitude. When you cultivate the Tao of Mirage, you must not neglect your original ancient cultivation, Dongbua Shuang said. The ancient cultivation is powerful, and you can rely on it to understand the laws. It has the effect of complementing each other. Can I seek guidance from Elder if I encounter a problem? Xinghua Sun Yi asked. Of course you can. Every genius cultivator in this star convention can, Dongbua Shuang said. Xinghua Sun Yi felt helpless at that moment. He understood. The moment the convention ended, Dongbua Shuang would naturally have his own matters to deal with. It would be troublesome to seek guidance from him. Then how much potential do I have for Elder to be satisfied and be willing to take me in as a disciple? Xinghua Sun Yi asked. A good master could greatly increase one's cultivation speed. This star convention will be able to see your potential. Dongbua Shuang smiled. Xinghua Sun Yi understood and immediately bowed respectfully. Then this junior shall take his leave. Go. Dongbua Shuang nodded. Xinghua Sun Yi bowed and left. Dongbua Shuang watched as this golden-robed young man left. He could feel that Xinghua Sun Yi was burning with fighting spirit. His heart was deeply hurt, but at this moment, his fighting spirit was burning crazily. If he's not bad, I can take him in as a disciple. Dongbua Shuang smiled. I truly did not expect that his fighting spirit would be reignited this time. Experts who stood at the higher echelons of the laws and profound mysteries system vaguely understood that the supreme operating law was their ultimate goal. Dongbua Shuang specialized in the Tao of Mirage. Naturally, he had thought about it before. How powerful would it be if the Tao of Mirage reached the supreme level? It would not be hard for it to revive a life. Because he had thought about it before, he naturally mentioned this point. Even though Xinghua Sun Yi had met other primal chaos giants who specialized in illusory realm before, they were all ancient cultivators and did not have the same thoughts as Dongbua Shuang. Naturally, he would not mention this. Xinghua Emperor sat by himself in the courtyard of his residence. He felt depressed in his heart. He was waiting for his son to return from Dongbua Shuang. However, he didn't have much hope, because he was clear that his son's problem required him to change himself, from the depths of his heart. It was too difficult for others to help him. He's here. Xinghua Emperor sensed that his son had returned. He turned around and saw a golden-robed young man walking into the courtyard. His father was still sitting at the same position as in the morning. Amen? Xinghua Emperor was startled. He could feel it. It was no longer the same. Even though the past Xinghua Sun Yi remained calm, and it was hard to discern his actual state, he was too reserved. And at this moment, Xinghua Sun Yi's eyes were bright. His sharpness and fighting spirit could be felt by anyone. You! Xinghua Emperor was in slight disbelief. Father, help me find a cultivation ground that can accelerate time, Xinghua Sun Yi said. I have to grasp the time to cultivate. He had to be fast. He had to raise his strength as soon as possible so that Elder Dongbua could see his potential and accept him as a disciple. He had to reach an extremely high attainment in the Tao of Mirage. Cultivation ground? Xinghua Emperor's mouth was agape. How long had it been? It was fine that he took the initiative to cultivate, but he even wanted time to accelerate? Quick, there's no time to waste, Xinghua Sun Yi urged. Chapter 930. Many cultivators in the entire Blade Emperor city were paying attention to the Star Convention. Being the teacher of the convention, Dongbua Shuang was relatively busy. Even though the number of primal chaos giants who came to visit could be counted with one's fingers, there were too many genius cultivators. I hope for Senior Dongbua to guide me. a black-robed old man respectfully said. There were still remnants of a savage ripple in the surroundings. Dongbu Shuang sat there. He placed down the wine cup in his hand. The female attendant by the side immediately poured the wine for him stealthily. The fragrance of the wine permeated the air. Even though it is one's weakness that determines one's life and death during a battle. Dongbu Shuang chuckled. It is right that you wish to make up for your weakness. But you are currently at the second level Star Pagoda strength and is still relatively weak. You should spend more effort on the techniques you specialize in and make them stronger. When you have an overwhelming advantage in a certain aspect, you can similarly suppress your opponents. Dongbu Shuang said. Yes, this junior understands. The black-robed old man answered. The age of a cultivator could not be judged from his appearance. Just like when a transcendent cultivated at a slower speed, causing his appearance to be older. But after becoming a deity or world deity, he would continue to rise. This was something that was very common. This old man in front of him was indeed one of the genius cultivators participating in this convention. He had cultivated for just over 200 billion years, and was considered relatively young. Then is it possible for this junior to be chosen by senior? The black-robed old man could not help but ask. You have cultivated for a relatively short period, and are a loose cultivator. Hence, you do not have a good teacher to guide you. Dongbu Shuang chuckled. The only flaw is that your ranking this time is slightly lower. You are ranked at the 3000th rank. If you could be in the top 1000, your chances of being chosen would be much higher. Properly cultivate and make the best use of your time to break through in this 1000 years. Even if I don't choose you, I believe other teachers would. All right, go. Yes. The black-robed old man obediently bowed. He did not dare to be disrespectful and left. Elder, these cultivators frequently come to seek an audience with you. There is no need for Elder to meet them immediately. It's not a big deal to let them wait for half a day. I've heard that the teachers of other conventions often wait outside for several days if they want to seek guidance. These 1000 years are very important to them. Most of them are quite talented, but they lack guidance. With guidance, there might be a change within 1000 years. If there's an obvious increase in their strength, they'll have a chance to be chosen. Dongbu Shuang said. There's no need to waste their time. Without sufficient insight, it would be difficult for one to see through the other party's actual situation, and it would be even more difficult for one to give good guidance. Even General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and Violet Slaughter Island Lord might not be able to match up to Dongbu Shui Ying's understanding of the Unity Realm. Years passed by. Those talented cultivators were originally unconvinced with Dongbu Shuang in their hearts. We are also at the Unity Realm. Even though he is stronger than us, he is still at the Unity Realm. How can he be a teacher of the convention? But after the majority of them went to seek guidance, they discovered that Dongbu Shui Ying's attitude was clearly better, causing many of them to have a good impression of him. But there were also cultivators who were mumbling inwardly, he is ultimately at the Unity Realm. The other 4 teachers of the convention are all Primal Chaos Realm giants. Their statuses are different, and it is natural for his attitude to be better. Cultivators had different personalities. There were also some who were violent, twisted, and extremely selfish. In the blink of an eye, 300 years passed. Dongbu Shuang had a more detailed judgment of the potential of this batch of talented cultivators. But he would only choose at the final moment, because at that time, the 5 teachers of the convention would provide him with a name list. If the name list of others overlapped with his, he would naturally choose someone else. On this day, the sun was setting in the west. Dongbu Shuang sat cross-legged by the side of the lake within his cavern dwelling. He was meditating silently. In his mind, he was deducing the technique he wanted to fuse the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Slaughter together. With his pride, he still wanted to reach the 7th level strength at the Unity Realm. Challenging the final limit at every level would be of great help to the accumulation of his foundation. One's comprehension ability was not fixed the moment one was born. Instead, it would change over time. If he could get through the 7th level at the Unity Realm, it would be easy for him to step into the 8th level after reaching the primal chaos realm. The 9th level was not too far away either. This was the improvement of one's comprehension ability. Like Sword Master, why was he so heaven-defying? It was because he did not have any good guidance in his hometown cosmos. He had to rely on himself to comprehend. This was also forcing him to temper himself. After forcefully cultivating to the primal chaos realm, his foundation was incredibly thick. After entering the Great Void Heaven Temple, he read through many books and absorbed the wisdom of the seniors. Naturally, he broke through to the Cosmos God realm. Currently, Dongbu Shuiying had good guidance and many absolute arts. He even had the stone mirror and other treasures. Naturally, he would have higher expectations of himself. Muddling along would only make him fade into the masses. Elder Xing Huasun seeks an audience. The protector came over and respectfully reported. Let him in. Dongbu Shuiying ordered. Very soon. A golden-robed young man walked in. He was in high spirits and was entirely different from the first time they met. Greetings, Elder. Xing Huasun bowed respectfully. He was filled with admiration and gratefulness from the bottom of his heart. I thought that after you left the previous time, you would come and seek my guidance. Who would have thought that you would be gone for 300 years this time? Dongbu Shuiying chuckled. My father once said that if I were to ask my teacher for everything in cultivation, then in the future when my teacher could no longer guide me, I would have to rely on myself. By then, it would be hard for me to break through. Thus, even if I met with some problems, I would have to rely on myself to solve them. Xing Huasun said. Dongbu Shuiying revealed a smile. For instance, when the Great Void Heaven Temple taught disciples, the seniors would write down their comprehensions and place them in the Myriad Elephant Palace, allowing the juniors to read and comprehend by themselves. The path they walked would all depend on the disciples themselves. Asking their teacher for help whenever they met with a problem would indeed not have a bright future. Junior has some gains in cultivating the Tao of Mirage. Elder, please guide me. Xing Huasun pointed slightly with his finger. An illusory world appeared by the side. Then, the illusory world descended into reality, causing the surrounding heaven and earth energy to surge. Furthermore, it rapidly shrunk into a ball. Dongbu Shuiying's pupils shrank. He could not help but say, World Prison? You've cultivated the World Prison? Your Tao of Mirage has reached the origin birth realm? Dongbu Shuiying was shocked. How long had it been? Just 300 years. Xing Huasun revealed a smile and nodded. After Junior returned, I started researching the laws and profound mysteries system, the Tao of Mirage. With the absolute art Senior gave me, in addition to my deep accumulation in the illusory realm, I've reached the unity realm in the ancient cultivation lineage. Furthermore, my father gave me a cultivation aid, which allowed me to cultivate to this stage. But 300 years. Dongbu Shuiying still did not dare to believe it. Oh, I've been cultivating in the Tower of Time in Blade Imperial City. In reality, I've already cultivated for 3 million years. Xing Huasun said. Only then did Dongbu Shuiying understand. That should be enough. For someone who had never cultivated the Tao of Mirage, even if he had deep accumulation in the ancient cultivation of illusory realms, the laws and profound mysteries system would allow him to grasp the Mirage more thoroughly. Even if he had reached the void origin birth realm, it was still an inconceivable matter in a short 300 years. If it was 3 million years, that would be more or less the case. Dongbu Shuiying felt that it was more or less the case. If this were to spread to the outside world, it would still shock many cultivators. Because cultivating the ancient cultivation illusory realm in the Tao of Mirage was easy because the ancient cultivation illusory realm itself did not require a deep understanding of the illusory realm. On the other hand, cultivating the ancient cultivation illusory realm before cultivating the Tao of Mirage would make it hard for the cultivator to have a huge breakthrough in the Tao of Mirage. 3 million years. Dongbu Shuiying felt that it was normal because his cultivation speed was extremely fast. Compared to him, Dongbu Shuiying, Xing Huasun had cultivation aid and ancient cultivation aid. He felt that it was still acceptable for him to reach this stage in 3 million years. But compared to the cultivators in the outside world, it was shocking. After all, it had only been a few million years, and his strength had reached the 3rd-level Star Pagoda from the 2nd-level Star Pagoda realm. Grasping the world prison with the Tao of Mirage at the origin birth realm is extremely difficult, Xing Huasuni said. I've comprehended many structures of the illusory realm world within the boundary stone in the past. That's how I barely managed to do it. But the second style, illusory annihilation, requires the cultivator to reach the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage. But I feel that it is much more difficult. There are many perplexities that I can't comprehend no matter what. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. He still thought that this brat could reach the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage with just that bit of ancient cultivation experience. Speak, Dongbua Shuang said. Xing Huasuni nodded. He then continued practicing and asking questions. Many illusory worlds appeared around him. Dongbua Shuang casually guided Xing Huasuni as he listened. Every single time, Xing Huasuni would point out the essence of what he was not good at. He could only rely on his experience, and the books he read in the myriad Elephant Palace Hall to guide him. As for the Tao of Mirage, Tao of Slaughter, Tao of Ripple, and the void that he specialized in, Dongbua Shuang had it at his fingertips. Xing Huasuni's eyes lit up when he heard that. He was so excited that he was beaming with joy. After all, some of the things that had troubled him for a long time had been explained clearly by Dongbua Shuang using some ingenious methods. Dongbua Shuang had even pointed out many directions for him. This time, the guidance continued for a total of 10 days. Beside the lake, Dongbua Shuang was still sitting cross-legged there. The night had passed, and the sun had risen. Many thanks for Elder's guidance. Xing Huasuni was grateful and respectful. Your comprehension is not bad. Dongbua Shuang smiled. No wonder this Xing Huasuni could improve so quickly in the ancient cultivation illusory realm. He was indeed someone with extremely high comprehension. He was definitely the one with the highest comprehension amongst all the genius cultivators that Dongbua Shuang had guided. Then can this junior take Elder as my master now? Xing Huasuni could not help but ask. It's still early. Let's talk about it after the Star Convention ends, Dongbua Shuang said. Xing Huasuni was slightly disappointed. But he still said respectfully, this junior will go back and cultivate first. During the past 10 days of Elder's guidance, this junior has to go back and cultivate properly. Go, Dongbua Shuang said. Xing Huasuni obediently bowed and left. And as Dongbua Shuang watched as Xing Huasuni left, he thought, he currently has the strength of a 3rd-level Star Pagoda expert. In the future, he should be able to improve further. Amongst the cultivators of the Star Convention, his comprehension ability is definitely one of the best. I should be able to leave a spot for him in my name list. He was quite fond of Xing Huasuni because the other party specialized in the Tao of Mirage that he, Dongbua Shuang, was most proud of. It was not easy to meet a talent that was suitable to inherit his absolute art. Chapter 931. As the 1,000-year deadline approached, Dongbua Shuang became more leisurely. Almost all the talented cultivators had come here before, and there was no need for them to come a second time before their strength improved significantly. On this day, a thin man walked to the entrance of Dongbua Shuang's cavern dwelling. The faint aura he emitted had startled the two protectors. Even though this aura was emitted slightly, the moment they came in contact with it, they felt an overwhelming killing aura assaulting their souls, causing the protectors to tremble in fear. They had seen too many Unity Realm experts, and understood that this person in front of them was much stronger than them. He should be a primal Chaos Realm giant. At that moment, none of them dared to be disrespectful. Go tell Elder Dongbua that Ba Yun is here to visit, the thin man said coldly. Yes, senior, please wait for a moment. The protector immediately went in to pass the message. Brother Ba Yun? Dongbua Shuang took the initiative to welcome him warmly. The thin man was no longer cold. Instead, he revealed a smile. Haha, Brother Dongbua, I know you are busy. That is why I came to visit you now. If Brother Bai Yun wants to see me, you can naturally do so any time. Come, please come in. Dongbu Shuiying was much more polite. There was a reason for him to be polite. Even though this Bai Yun Palace Master was a primal Chaos Realm giant, according to the intelligence, he was barely at the strength of the 7th floor of Star Tower. This strength was only slightly stronger than him. The reason why Dongbu Shuiying was so polite was because Bai Yun Palace Master was the only disciple of the Black Emperor. Black Emperor had imparted his Tao to him. The two of them sat down. Dongbu Shuiying also took out his treasured wine and personally poured it for Bai Yun. Brother Bai Yun, why did you come to see me? Dongbu Shuiying chuckled. If there is anything, just say it. Haha, I came because of this star convention. Bai Yun Palace Master said. I have a junior who participated in the star convention. His strength isn't bad and he is ranked in the top 500. However, he isn't confident that he will be chosen in the end. Therefore, he came to seek my help. I also like this kid, so I specially came to seek Brother Dongbo's help. Hearing that he was ranked in the top 500, Dongbu Shuiying heaved a sigh of relief. It wasn't that he didn't know how to be flexible. As long as the other party's potential was high enough, in a situation where he could choose or not, it wouldn't matter if Bai Yun Palace Master personally interceded for him. After all, choosing juniors with potential, this was the inner judgment of the teachers of the convention. Each of them had different experiences, so their judgment of the potential of the younger generation was different. For example, if Dongbu Shuiying judged a junior's potential to be around 150, General Tianguang might judge him to be around 100, and General Hatchet Palace Lord might judge him to be around 200. It was impossible to be absolutely the same. But they were all experts, and Dongbu Shuiying had a high understanding of the Unity Realm. His judgment of potential would not be too bad. Therefore, as long as the junior's potential was within the range of Dongbu Shuiying's choice, he could definitely choose him. No one would think that he would act recklessly. But if the junior's potential was judged to be outside the top 1,000, General Hatchet Palace Master, General Tianguang, and the others might judge him to be slightly different, but he would still be ranked outside the top 900. If he chose, he would be slapped in the face. Oh, if his potential is not bad, I will naturally do my best to help. Dongbu Shuiying chuckled. His potential is not bad. I believe that after entering the holy ground, his future will be even more extraordinary. Bai Yun Palace Master said. I wonder what is his name? Dongbu Shuiying asked. He is called Huan Lu. Bai Yun Palace Master chuckled. He is ranked 406th in the Star Pagoda preliminaries. Dongbu Shuiying's original smile froze. Huan Lu. Huan Lu was a loose cultivator, but he had cultivated for more than 6 trillion years. More importantly, Dongbu Shuiying had seen the recording of him challenging the Star Pagoda. Being ranked 406 sounded good, but in reality, he had not gotten through the 3rd level. He was merely ranked at the peak of the 2nd level Star Pagoda. Furthermore, the reason why he was ranked at the peak was because his body had been modified. That time, Dongbu Shuiying saw the recording and deduced, this Huan Lu must have many treasures. His realm is clearly ordinary, and he should only be at the 1st level Star Pagoda strength. But his body has been modified. By relying on his powerful body, he nearly got through the 3rd level. He is merely a Devour class cultivator, yet his body has been modified by a Hex cultivator. Clearly, other experts had helped to modify his body. It was indeed possible to invite other experts to modify his body. Furthermore, with sufficient origin world rocks, one could even invite Wu Zhu to help, making his body so strong that even primal Chaos Realm giants could not destroy it. But the more heaven-defying the modification, the more exaggerated the price. It would be more worthwhile to purchase puppets. This Huan Lu had clearly modified his body for the sake of the Star Convention. He wanted to increase his ranking, but it's a pity that Dongbu Shuiying, General Hatchet Palace Master, and the others had sharp eyesight. With a glance they could deduce, his body had been modified by others. If he did not modify his body, he would likely be ranked beyond 10,000. Even though he was a loose cultivator, he had cultivated for a very long time. In terms of potential, he was unquestionably ranked beyond 3,000. Someone who was unquestionably ranked beyond 3,000, was he going to select him? Dongbu Shuang looked up at Bai Yun Palace Master in front of him. Bai Yun Palace Master remained smiling. Brother Dongbo, he is a loose cultivator, and he is ranked in the 400s. His potential is not bad. He has invited other experts to modify his body. That is why he is ranked around 400. Dongbu Shuang shook his head. We choose based on potential. It is impossible for other experts to modify their bodies. Brother Dongbo, you can choose 20 people. And as for potential, every teacher of the convention has different eyesight. Since you have a unique eyesight, it is normal for you to select him. Bai Yun Palace Master chuckled. Dongbu Shuang furrowed his brows. This disciple of Senior Black Emperor, he had already said it like this. Why was he still forcing himself? I will try my best. I still have some matters that I need to attend to. Dongbu Shuang stood up. Brother Dongbo, you better give me a definite answer. I will be at ease. Bai Yun Palace Master said. I will try my best. Dongbu Shuang replied. How about this, if you choose, I am willing to give Brother Dongbo 200 Origin World Rocks. Bai Yun Palace Master smiled. That Huan Lu had indeed had a fortuitous encounter. He had obtained many treasures, and not only did he modify his body, he also understood the detailed information of the 5 teachers of the convention. Only then did he find Bai Yun Palace Master to intercede for him. The deposit was 100 Origin World Rocks. Once the matter was settled, he was willing to pay another 500 Origin World Rocks. A total of 600 Origin World Rocks was enough for him to enter the sacred ground. Brother Bai Yun, Shuang helplessly said, you should also understand that I, as a Unity Realm expert, am taking on the role of a teacher of the convention, and there are some objections to it. I am not just representing myself here. More importantly, I am representing my Great Void Heaven Temple. I cannot slap my Great Void Heaven Temple's face. Therefore, I really can't do anything about your matter. His potential is probably ranked outside the top 3,000. Dongbu Shuang honestly interceded because he hoped that the other party could understand. Just a small matter? How can it be considered as giving face to the Great Void Heaven Temple? Bai Yun Palace Master frowned. Alright, today is the first time the two of us are meeting. Let's not make things too ugly and give me some face. It's just a slot. Let's do it this way. Dongbu Shuiying's expression changed slightly. He immediately stood up. Brother Bai Yun, I still have matters to attend to. I will not accompany you any longer. Please leave. Bai Yun Palace Master's expression instantly turned cold. You really don't agree? No choice. Dongbu Shuang said directly. Humph. Bai Yun Palace Master laughed angrily. You are just a small Unity realm. You have obtained the inheritance of my teacher. It is fine if you don't feel grateful, but I personally came to ask for your help, yet you did not give me any face. Also, don't call me Brother Bai Yun. You are just the Unity realm and aren't qualified to call me brother. He was truly angered. Being a primal Chaos Realm giant and the only disciple of the Black Emperor, who would not give him face normally, he looked down on all Unity Realm experts. In his heart, he did not think highly of Dongbu Shuang. After all, so what if he was on the 6th floor of Star Tower? In history, there were many who were stuck on the 6th floor of Star Tower and could not step into the Primal Chaos Realm. For instance, Thunder Flame Pagoda Master was stuck there, and Dark World Master had fallen long ago. In his heart, Bai Yun Palace Master truly did not think highly of Dongbu Shuang. Even addressing him as brother made him feel uncomfortable. It was only because he had a request from the other party that he maintained a smile and spoke passionately. Who would have thought that this Dongbu Shuang, a Unity Realm expert, would be so shameless? Giving him 200 Origin World Rocks, yet he did not agree? How much was the total value of all the treasures on Dongbu Shuang? It should be at most 1,000 origin world rocks, right? 200 origin world rocks was a very large sum of wealth. Addressing me as brother? It seems I have climbed up the social ladder. Dombush Shuang coldly said. Since things had reached this stage, there was no need for him to save any face. Someone, send the guest off. Dombush Shui Ying's voice transmitted. At that moment, a female attendant came in. She walked to the side of Ba Yun Palace Master. She was slightly nervous, but she still said, Please. No matter how arrogant Ba Yun Palace Master was, he did not dare to be impudent in his territory in the Blade Emperor City. Humph, you have guts. Ba Yun Palace Master sneered. Why? Still not leaving? Do you want me to chase you out? Dombush Shuang coldly said. Good, very good. Ba Yun Palace Master sneered. He turned around and left in 2 to 3 steps. Dombush Shuang coldly snorted. So what if he was a primal Chaos Realm giant? He barely had the strength of the 7th level, and was just a notch higher than him. Even if he fought with him, he would not be afraid. Furthermore, he was close to the primal Chaos Realm. The moment he stepped into it, he would be able to easily surpass him. He was being so polite and courteous because of the Black Emperor. But even though he respected the Black Emperor, it did not mean that he had to respect him as a disciple. Since he did not want any face, he could only chase him out. Chapter 932. After walking out of the residence, Ba Yun Palace Master turned around with a gloomy expression. This made the 2 guards at the entrance of the residence not even dare to breathe. A mere Unity Realm expert is so arrogant and ignorant, Ba Yun Palace Master said coldly before leaving. This made the 2 guards look at each other in dismay. Is he saying that Elder Dongbo is arrogant and ignorant? From the looks of it, his negotiation with Elder Dongbo has fallen apart. Elder Dongbo is the same. Even if he rejected a primal Chaos Realm expert, he shouldn't have made it so ugly. The 2 guards talked to each other through voice transmissions. They even quickly told some of their good friends about what had happened and started discussing it. These guards and attendants were arranged by the Blade Emperor City. They were the lowest level members of the Blade Emperor City. They would temporarily serve Dombush Shuang during the Star Convention. The moment the Star Convention ended, they could not be bothered with the inner hall elder of the Great Void Heaven Temple. Hence, they were more than willing to discuss the secrets of these big characters. Very soon, those who were well informed knew that Ba Yun Palace Master had said that Dombush Shuang was arrogant and ignorant. And those who knew about this matter stood on the side of Ba Yun Palace Master. Because the 5 great sacred worlds of the Primal Chaos Void were used to the high and mighty Primal Chaos Realm experts. A Unity Realm expert should be respectful to a Primal Chaos Realm expert. Dombush Shuang was too lazy to care about the discussions of the outside world. Only the weak would pay attention to the actions of the experts. Why would a true expert care about the trivial matters of the weak? Before breaking through to the Primal Chaos Realm, he would not easily offend a Primal Chaos Realm expert. He would rather endure. But under the premise that he had absolute confidence in breaking through, even if he treated the other party politely, he would not tolerate the other party taking advantage of him. So what if they fell out? In just a short while, he would easily surpass the other party. Amen? On this day, as Dombush Shuang was meditating by the lake in his cavern, he suddenly received a message. It was the host of this Star Convention, Heart Imitation Religious Master. There's still half a year before the 1,000-year deadline ends. The name list of General Hatchet Palace Master has already been handed over to Heart Imitation Religious Master? Dombush Shuang was shocked. The message that Heart Imitation Religious Master sent was the list of 20 people that General Hatchet Palace Master had chosen. Not a bad choice. Dombush Shuang took a look. According to Heart Imitation Religious Master's assessment, they were all in the top 300 in terms of potential. Chen Qiong. Dombush Shuang smiled. He had also noticed this name. Monarch Hidden Dragon should have looked for General Hatchet Palace Master as well. I had intended to choose him as well. The little fellow called Xinxiong had cultivated for an extremely short period of time, and he had only come to seek guidance 3 times in the past 1,000 years. Moreover, his improvement was rather obvious, and in terms of potential, he was probably ranked in the top 20. Days passed by. The entire Star Convention had begun to boil in secret. Those who were well informed had already begun to know that the names of the teachers of the convention were being submitted one by one. General Hatchet Palace Master had the highest status, so he was the first to hand over the name list. Half a month later, as the only female, the Violet Slaughter Island Master was the second to submit the name list. Another month later, the 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor also submitted the name list. Another month later, the Blade Emperor City, which was in charge of hosting the convention, sent out a Primal Chaos Existence, General Heaven Light, to submit the name list. Being at the Unity Realm, Dongbua Shuang naturally knew what to do. He chose to be the last to submit the name list. Please pass on the message that Dongbua Shuang greets Heart Imitation Religious Master. Dongbua Shuang stood in front of a huge residence. The place where Heart Imitation Religious Master stayed was naturally his residence in the Blade Emperor City. It's Dongbua Shuang, one of the 5 teachers of the convention, Dongbua Shuang. He is here to submit the name list too. Outside the residence of Heart Imitation Religious Master, there were quite a few people staring at it, especially those talented cultivators who were anxiously paying attention to the name list. They had already thought of ways to know the name list submitted by the previous 4 teachers of the convention. Currently, only Dongbua Shuang was left. The secrecy of the name list was not high. Heart Imitation Religious Master and the 5 teachers of the convention, as well as many Primal Chaos Existences who came to watch the convention, were given a copy. After all, it was meant to be made public, and there was naturally no need to keep it a secret. This is the final one. This one has 20 names. I hope I'm one of them. This is the final chance. Some of the talented cultivators who had been waiting outside the residence of Heart Imitation Religious Master were extremely nervous. They were waiting silently. In the past 1,000 years, many of them had visited Dongbua Shuang, albeit Dongbua Shuang had never given them any confirmation. Within the residence, Dongbua Shuang continued walking under the guidance of an attendant. They passed through the winding corridors and arrived at a huge public square. Finally, he arrived at a towering black palace hall. This palace hall was incomparably grand. It occupied approximately 1/10 of the entire residence, spanning an area of 5,000 kilometers. It was also the most eye-catching palace structure in the entire Blade Emperor City. This was also the famous Heart Imitation Palace Hall. Heart Imitation Palace Hall, Dongbua Shuang thought. He knew that Heart Imitation Religious Master would usually cultivate in the Heart Imitation Palace Hall. This was a unique palace specially constructed for cultivation. Elder Dongbua, Religious Master is inside. The attendant stopped outside the palace hall. Dongbua Shuang nodded. He stepped inside. The huge Heart Imitation Palace Hall was huge and spacious. It occupied an area of 5,000 kilometers. It was empty within. There were no decorations at all. There was only a single figure seated cross-legged on the ground of this dark palace hall. Heart Imitation Religious Master was wearing a loose robe. His robe was spread on the ground. His back was slightly bent, and he had a smile on his face as he looked at Dongbua Shuang. Even though he did not emit any aura, Dongbua Shuang could feel that the entire Heart Imitation Palace Hall was becoming bigger and bigger under his senses. It was boundless and dark. The entire Heart Imitation Palace Hall was like an endless cosmos. And Heart Imitation Religious Master was the core of this cosmos. He sat there as if he was the master of the cosmos. It's said that 9th-level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos Realm giants are not any weaker than cosmos gods in certain aspects. It is indeed true. Dongbua Shuang saw this scene. Even though Heart Imitation Religious Master did not emit any aura and did not display any techniques, just by sitting within the myriad Imitation Palace Hall made Dongbua Shuang understand how terrifying the other party was. At least for now. It was easy for the other party to kill him. Even if he had the protective treasure given by forefather Tianyu, he could only last for 1 or 2 moments. Elder Dongbo. Hard imitation religious master's ugly face contained a power that could warm the hearts of others. His voice was gentle too. The first 4 teachers of the convention have been decided. Your name list has been decided. Hence, the 100 names that you have chosen can be made public. I have already chosen them. Dongbo Shuang nodded. He waved his hand, causing a golden silk scroll to appear in front of him. It flew towards Hard Imitation Religious Master. Hard Imitation Religious Master casually looked through it. Suddenly, he frowned slightly. His gaze landed on one of the 20 names, Xinghua Sun Yi. Hard Imitation Religious Master looked up at Dongbo Shuang. Xinghua Sun Yi? Being the host of this star convention, Hard Imitation Religious Master naturally understood the intelligence of all the talented cultivators. He naturally paid attention to Xinghua Sun Yi because he was the youngest son of an ultra-expert at the same level as him, Xinghua Emperor. With such a background, he had cultivated for more than 500 billion years, yet he was only ranked 3,600th. His potential would most likely be ranked beyond 5,000 amongst the talented cultivators. Speaking from his heart, Hard Imitation Religious Master had a good impression of Dongbo Shuang. After all, he was the strongest Unity Realm cultivator in the current era of the 2 great sacred worlds. He could compete with Lei Yan from the myriad ancient sacred world. Are you sure you won't change the name list? Hard Imitation Religious Master looked at Dongbo Shuang. I haven't announced it to the public yet. You can still change it. There's no need to change it. Dongbo Shuang shook his head. Hard Imitation Religious Master hesitated for a moment before saying, Elder Dongbo, I've heard that forefather Tianyu has suggested for you to be the teacher of this star convention. Out of the 5 cosmos gods, 2 are against it, and you barely passed. Your choice doesn't just represent yourself. Instead, it represents the entire Great Void Heaven Temple. The name list was public. Even though some experts could be selfish and shameless, Holy Grounds still cared about their reputation. Being mocked by many cultivators in the dark would be a disgrace to the Great Void Heaven Temple. Many thanks for Hard Imitation Religious Master's good intentions. I've decided. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Hard Imitation Religious Master shook his head inwardly. It was rare for him to persuade the other party. He then nodded. All right, then the name list will be decided as such. The name list would definitely be there. Following that, Hard Imitation Religious Master circulated the name list to the various parties. At the same time, he began making arrangements to make the name list public. Chapter 933. Elder Dongbo of the Teachers of the Convention has also submitted his name list. This news rapidly spread amongst the genius cultivators. At that moment, many of them rushed over to the Star Convention. According to the rules of the convention, the moment the 5 teachers of the convention submitted their name lists, the Star Convention would announce the name list of the participants. I hope I'm on the name list. I must be on it. Many genius cultivators entered the venue of the Star Convention and looked in the direction of the Star Pagoda. They were waiting for the final name list to be announced. Many of them were nervous. Should they continue to be mediocre cultivators in the vast sacred world, or should they ascend to the sky in a single step and enter the holy grounds? Some of them had cultivated for less than 1 trillion years and were qualified to participate in the next Star Convention. As for those who had cultivated for a longer period, they would not have another chance if they missed this opportunity. It was too difficult to step into the primal chaos realm by relying on oneself to temper oneself in danger. How many primal chaos giants did a sacred world have over the long years? Like the 2 great sacred worlds, almost half of the primal chaos giants belonged to the holy grounds. As for the remaining primal chaos giants, some were originally from the holy grounds. It's just that as cosmos gods fell, those holy grounds disappeared, and they could only rely on themselves. Strictly speaking, 70% to 80% of the primal chaos giants were nurtured by cosmos gods. The remaining 20% to 30% had all sorts of fortuitous encounters. Without sufficient fortuitous encounters, it was too difficult to rely on oneself to reach the primal chaos realm. Even if they were adventuring outside, most would not dare to kill disciples from the holy grounds. As for those who did not have any background, many had died. I must enter. I must be on the name list. I must be on it. These genius cultivators looked up in anticipation. They were waiting nervously. Hong! Following that, a grand aura surged. High up in the sky by the side of the star pagoda, 5 rows of name lists appeared. At the forefront of every list were the names of the teachers of the convention. For instance, the name list submitted by Dongbo Shuang was on the 5th row. Elder Dongbo, Swordsman Yunchen, Xinghua Mao Jia, my name. These genius cultivators all raised their heads and looked carefully. High up in the sky, there were the names of the 5 teachers of the convention and the 100 genius cultivators. Every teacher had 20 names. No! Some genius cultivators looked at it in a daze. They did not dare believe it. It's me! There were also those who were chosen who revealed excited expressions. There were also some chosen genius cultivators who saw their names still standing coldly in the sky, but their slightly upturned lips revealed their emotions. There were only a few who were truly excited and happy. The teachers of the convention would choose 100 people. Adding the 100 from the Star Pagoda preliminaries, there would only be a total of 200 people. There were more than 16,000 participants in the Star Convention, and the rest had all failed. I've been chosen by General Hatchet Palace Master. Fu Jun, who was dressed in simple robes, raised his head. His eyes were emitting a dazzling light. He turned his head and looked at the distant red-robed woman. That was his former Dao companion. I didn't expect that Xinghua Sunyi would also be chosen. With his strength and the fact that he was taught by Xinghua Emperor, I'm afraid that many rogue cultivators have higher potential than him. Yet he was actually chosen? When Fu Jun saw Xinghua Sun's name among the huge names in the sky, he could not help but sneer inwardly. Xinghua Sunyi had seen through his wife's disguise. Fu Jun didn't feel grateful towards Xinghua Sunyi, but he didn't feel any hatred either. He just didn't want to see Xinghua Sunyi again. But when he saw the name list, Fu Jun was slightly disdainful. He felt that the other party must have relied on his father's background to enter the name list. It's useless. The path of cultivation depends on oneself. Even if you enter the sacred ground, you still won't have a future. Fu Jun glanced at the distant golden-robed young man and couldn't be bothered to look at him anymore. He didn't want to see his wife Yin, and he didn't want to see Xinghua Sunyi either. Xinghua Sunyi raised his head and looked at the name in the sky. With a glance, he knew that Dongbo Shuang had chosen him. Elder Dongbo has acknowledged my potential? Xinghua Sunyi was slightly excited. There's no rush. He said that he wants to see the potential I display in the entire Star Convention. After the Star Convention ends, I might be able to successfully take him as my master. The red-robed Yin raised her head and looked. Without a doubt, she who had an ordinary ranking and cultivated for a long time was not on the name list. But Fu Jun and Xinghua Sunyi, who had a close relationship with her, were on the name list. Fu Jun's potential is indeed extraordinary. Xinghua Sunyi's background is also impressive. Even though his ranking is lower than mine, he was still chosen. It's a pity that I lost to him. And Yin sneered. She turned and left the Star Convention. She had lost quite badly this time. The huge names that appeared in the void beside the majestic Star Pagoda could be seen even from far away. General Hatchet Palace Master, who was in his cave dwelling, was drinking scarlet wine by himself. The seemingly weak and skinny General Hatchet Palace Master raised his head and saw the names in the sky beside the Star Pagoda. His gaze landed on the name that Dongbo Shuang had submitted. Strange. This Dongbo Shuang doesn't seem like a foolish person. Why did he choose Xinghua's son? To curry favor with Xinghua? General Hatchet Palace Master shook his head slightly. He chose Xinghua Sunyi? Violet Slaughter Island Master also walked out of the palace hall. She raised her head and looked at the names that appeared in the sky. Her face revealed a look of astonishment. Xinghu Emperor shouldn't have forced him, right? If he wants his son to enter the sacred ground, he definitely has other methods. There's no need for him to do it in such an ugly manner. Could it be that Dongbu Shuiying is doing Xinghu Emperor a favor on purpose? Even though Xinghu Emperor had other methods to force his son into the sacred ground, he would need to use a favor to do so. Since Dongbu Shuiying had done so, Xinghu Emperor would have to be indebted to him. In the end, he's only at the Unity Realm. Violet's Slaughter Island master shook her head and curled her lips. She couldn't be bothered with this matter any longer. General Heaven Light was still meditating. When he saw the name list, he merely sneered. Laughable. Back then, I guessed that he would embarrass the Great Void Heaven Temple. The cold and evil five-luster serpent ancestor raised his head and looked at the names in the sky. Following which, he lowered his head and continued drinking his wine. As Xinghua Sunyi was completely focused on the Tao of Mirage, other than asking Dongbu Shuiying for pointers, he did not ask the other 4 teachers of the convention for pointers. General Hatchet Palace Master and the other 3 teachers of the convention naturally judged Xinghua Sunyi's potential to be beyond the top 5,000. They also felt that Dongbu Shuiying was too unsightly. Haha, to be so arrogant in front of me, it turns out that you despise me for giving too little. Bai Yun Palace Master was also staying in a cavern dwelling arranged by Blade Emperor City. It was very close to the Star Tower. He raised his head and sneered. With Xinghua Emperor's identity, he shouldn't be doing this. I reckon that his son, Xinghua Sunyi, has taken out treasures to bribe Dongbu Shuiying. For example, taking out 1 or 2,000 origin world rocks was enough to move the hearts of ordinary primal chaos existences. Dongbu Shuiying would definitely be moved. With Xinghua Sunyi's identity, he could still take it out even if he clenched his teeth. After all, with Xinghua Emperor's identity, he could look down on ordinary primal chaos existences. He could easily kill them. Naturally, the treasures he had far surpassed what Bai Yun Palace Master and the others had. Actually, when they saw this name list, the others were still fine. At most, they felt that Dongbu Shuiying's table manners were somewhat unsightly, and that he had lost the face of the Great Void Heaven Temple. But the other inquisitive Sky Hall Master who came from the Great Void Heaven Temple was truly enraged. Dongbu Shuiying, how could he? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master received the name list with slight disbelief. When he saw the names that appeared beside the Star Tower, he looked at it again and again. Behind the name Elder Dongbu, there was indeed Xinghua Sunyi. How could he do this? Forefather trusted him and thought highly of him, allowing him to become the teacher of this convention and represent our Great Void Heaven Temple. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master had an ugly expression. Even though he did not understand the situation during the selection, he could guess that Forefather Tianyu must have spent quite a lot of effort to allow a Unity Realm expert to become the teacher of the convention. But this is how he repaid Forefather? It is fine if he is shameless, but our Great Void Heaven Temple still has our face. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's expression became uglier. He originally had a good impression of Dongbu Shuiying. This was the strongest rising expert among the younger generations of the Great Void Heaven Temple. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and the others had high expectations of him, and were even thinking of ways to protect him. Knowing that Dongbu Shuiying was in danger, he would personally teleport through an ultra-long distance, sending his incarnations to rush over. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and the others were looking forward to the day when Dongbu Shuiying would break through and become a Hall Master like them. But this time, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was enraged at Dongbu Shuiying. Your greatest backing, Dongbu Shuiying, is our Great Void Heaven Temple. Why do you need to curry favor with Xinghua Emperor? Isn't our Great Void Heaven Temple 10 or 100 times stronger than Xinghua Emperor? Chapter 934. Shuiying returned to his cavern dwelling after leaving Heart Imitation Religious Master's place. Just as he sat down and took out a flask of wine, he had yet to pour it when the protector entered the courtyard, reporting, "Elder, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master seeks an audience. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master? Dongwu Shuiying was startled. He immediately stood up and took a few steps before arriving at the entrance of the cave dwelling. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master is looking for me. Send a message and I will rush over. Dongwu Shuiying was about to say a few more words, but he noticed that Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's originally black face no longer had a trace of a smile on it. He looked at Dongwu Shuiying calmly and coldly before walking inside. Let's talk inside. Dongwu Shuiying was slightly startled. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master didn't seem right. Following Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, Dongwu Shuiying said passionately, "The Star Convention's selection of genius cultivators might be simple, but I didn't dare to be negligent. After all, it is an open task, and I have to do it well. Now that the name list has been decided, I am much more relaxed. Just as I took out a flask of wine brewed from the primitive ancient sacred world's wheat maple leaf, before I could drink it, Hall Master came. Hall Master, please accompany me for a few more cups. You are relaxed because you have done it well?" Inquisitive Sky Hall Master stopped and turned to look at Dongwu Shuiying. Dongwu Shuiying was stunned. "You feel that it is well done?" Inquisitive Sky Hall Master asked again. "Because the first 4 teachers of the convention submitted the name list first, I cannot repeat it with them. Thus, I had to modify it multiple times. But the candidates are all not bad," Dongwu Shuiying said. "All not bad?" Inquisitive Sky Hall Master nodded. "Then what do you think of Xinghua Sun-yi? He is very good, very good. He is the best candidate in the name list." Dongwu Shuiying saw Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's expression and immediately understood. "Haha, Hall Master, are you angry because I chose Xinghua Sun-yi? Are you worried that I will disregard my reputation and try to please Xinghua Emperor? How can I be that kind of person? Hall Master, you can be at ease. You are not the teacher of the convention, so you should not know how astonishing Xinghua Sun-yi's improvement is in these 1,000 years. Shocking?" Inquisitive Sky Palace Master was stunned. He could tell that Dongwu Shuiying had a card up his sleeve. His anger turned into doubt. What kind of improvement can he make? He had cultivated for 500 billion years, but this was also the case. He had all the treasures he wanted, and he didn't lack pointers from experts. It's only been 1,000 years, how much progress can there be? This wasn't just the thought of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Quite a few primal chaos giants had the same thought after seeing the name list. Cultivation required a gradual accumulation. Even if Dongwu Shuiying was talented, after reaching the 5th level of Star Pagoda, he had to slowly accumulate and cultivate for a long time. Even his spirit had reached the My Heart as the world realm before reaching the 6th floor of Star Tower. These genius cultivators had cultivated for at least tens of billions of years, while the longest had cultivated for over 1 trillion years. Such a long period, just 1,000 years, was not worth mentioning. Like Xinghua Sun-yi and those with a background, they had resources and pointers. This 1,000 years would not be enough for them to improve. It was only those loose cultivators who had cultivated for a long period, and had accumulated too many perplexities. Now, they could obtain pointers from existences like General Hatchet Palace Master. Dongwu Shuiying was also the strongest Unity Realm expert in the 2 great sacred worlds, and his guidance was similarly precious. This guidance would dispel many of the perplexities the loose cultivators had, and they would have a sudden improvement in their strength. 1,000 years. Only loose cultivators could have a huge improvement. General Hatchet Palace Master, Violet Slaughter Island Master, General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and others did not think that Xinghua Sun-yi would improve. Improvement required accumulation. Unless Xinghua Sun-yi had many perplexities in the past? Without the guidance of apex experts? It's a pity that Xinghua Sun-yi's father was a 9th-level Star Pagoda existence. Relying on the relationship of his father, he could easily seek guidance from many primal chaos giants. His cultivation conditions would likely be better than seeking guidance from the 5 teachers of the convention. He has a huge improvement. Dongwu Shuiying chuckled. The other 4 teachers of the convention should know about it. General Heaven Light even transmitted a message to me. His words sounded nice, but it was full of ridicule. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master shook his head. If Xing Huasun has truly improved, he should not have sought guidance from General Heaven Light. Dongbu Shuang was slightly startled. Wait a moment. Dongbu Shuang immediately transmitted a message to Xing Hu Emperor. Xing Hu Emperor was interested in befriending him, and the two naturally left behind their communication imprints. Monarch, has Xing Huasun sought guidance from the other teachers of the convention? Dongbu Shuang transmitted a question. Haha, Elder Dongbu, I've seen the name list you chose. The other 4 teachers of the convention did not choose my son. You are the only one. I've even asked this brat, and he said that the other 4 teachers do not know the Tao of Mirage, and that there is no need for him to waste his time. Xing Hu Emperor transmitted a message over. Indeed, Xing Huasun was not like those loose cultivators. His horizons were very high, and he did not feel that it was a rare opportunity to seek guidance from the other 4 teachers of the convention. He was even too lazy to do so. He was wholeheartedly focused on the Tao of Mirage. And in the laws and profound mysteries system of the 5 great sacred worlds, the one with the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage was Dongbu Shuang. The moment Dongbu Shuang relied on the Tao of Mirage to reach the primal chaos realm, he would be the first primal chaos expert in the Tao of Mirage in history. It was no wonder. After all, there were only a total of 20 primal chaos experts in the laws and profound mysteries system. The Tao of Mirage was one of the more obscure Tao paths in the laws and profound mysteries system. Those like the Tao of Slaughter were the most commonly seen. You saved my son. This is a huge favor, haha, I can't thank you with words. Everything will be remembered in my heart. Xing Hu Emperor transmitted over. He did not explain in detail. Since he said this, it was clear that he was extremely grateful to Dongbu Shuang. For the sake of saving his son, he had even sought guidance from several cosmos gods. Now that his son was working hard once again, Xing Hu Emperor was naturally happy. Furthermore, his son had said that he wanted to take Dongbu Shuang as his teacher. In the future, his relationship with Dongbu Shuang would naturally become closer. After Dongbu Shuang finished transmitting with Xing Hu Emperor, he said to Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, I've asked Xing Hu Emperor about it, and it seems that this brat Xing Huasun has only sought guidance from me. He has not sought guidance from the other 4 teachers of the convention. Has he really improved greatly? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master could not help but ask. Really? Unless I'm lying about this? In the public battle 10,000 years later, Xing Huasun will have to fight too. If I were to lie, wouldn't I be exposed? Dongbu Shuang chuckled. But why would he? He hasn't improved much over the past 500 billion years. How could he improve so much in such a short period? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master felt puzzled too. Dongbu Shuang hesitated for a moment. Heartache. It was a disgraceful matter. Xing Hu Emperor had asked him for help previously, and asked him to keep it a secret and not leak it out. After all, he had become Tao companions with a girl from the illusory realm, and he ended up feeling heartache. That was indeed disgraceful. In the intelligence he had previously obtained, there were no records of Xing Huasun feeling heartache. Unquestionably. Even though Xing Hu Emperor had sought help from several primal chaos giants and cosmos gods who specialized in the illusory realm, he had definitely asked them to keep it a secret. What identity did they have? It was unlikely for them to spread this matter out. There are some minor reasons. Dongbu Shuang did not explain in detail. He chuckled. But currently he has indeed improved greatly. How about this? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master can check the scene from a few decades ago when he came to ask for my help. Oh? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master nodded. Even though Dongbu Shuang said it sincerely, and it did not seem fake since there was no need to lie at this point, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master still did not dare believe it. With Xing Huasun background and identity, how could he improve so much in just 1,000 years if he only had that little bit of strength after 500 billion years? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's eyes looked ahead. A dim light shot out from his eyes, causing the scene ahead to distort. Schwa! Very soon, the scene reversed to a few decades ago, when Xing Huasuni asked for help from Dongbu Shuiying. Seeing that scene, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master revealed a look of shock and disbelief. Tao of Mirage? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was startled. He actually pushed the Tao of Mirage to the Unity Realm? And this strength is at the 4th level Star Pagoda strength? Dongbu Shuiying chuckled and nodded. Over 900 years, with the help of Xinghu Emperor, Xing Huasuni cultivated in the Time Pagoda in Blade Emperor City that was 10,000 times faster than normal. Even though cultivating at the Unity Realm would require around 200,000 origin world rocks for 100 million years, and even cosmos gods would not be so extravagant. But because it was just a short 1,000 years, it would only require 2 origin world rocks at a time 10,000 times faster than normal. Cultivating for more than 9 million years, with the best cultivation conditions, treasures that aided in cultivation, in addition to his own accumulations, and the fact that he could ask for help from Dongbu Shuiying, Xing Huasuni had indeed reached the Unity Realm in the Tao of Mirage. That time, after Dongbu Shuiying reached the Unity Realm in the Tao of Mirage, he soon grasped the Dark Bubble and directly reached the 5th level Star Pagoda strength. But, even though Xing Huasuni was formidable, it was clear that his talent in the Tao of Mirage was slightly weaker than Dongbu Shuiying. But he had grasped the second style of the absolute art created by Dongbu Shuiying, the Mirage Annihilation. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master watched as the scene of Xing Huasuni asking for help from Dongbu Shuiying appeared in front of him. The more he watched, the happier he became. If I remember correctly, there was only a single person who got through the 4th level Star Pagoda during the preliminary selections. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master said. And now, Xing Huasuni has such strength. In other words, his strength should be ranked in the top 3. Dongbu Shuiying nodded with a smile. I've said before that he is the best in the name list. Since he did not ask for help from the other 4 teachers of the convention, then it is likely that there will be some ugly rumors spreading in the outside world. Why don't you tell the other 4 teachers of the convention? You must not tell them. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master shook his head. He said delightedly, General Tian Guang has deliberately transmitted a message to me with sarcasm. So be it if it's a rumor. Just let them spread it. Just 10,000 years later, the final battle will be held publicly. By then, Xing Huasuni will be incomparably dazzling. I am looking forward to seeing their shocked expressions. Furthermore, by then, all the cultivators paying attention to the Star Convention will know that the teachers of the convention sent by the holy ground of the laws and profound mysteries lineage, the Great Void Heaven Temple, are the ones with the highest standards when it comes to selecting talented cultivators. Chapter 935. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was not willing to inform the other 4 teachers of the convention, and Dongbu Shuiying naturally did not object. Even though there would be some rumors, firstly, it was a short period of time, and secondly, there were few who felt that it was unfair for Dongbu Shuiying to choose Xing Huasuni. The genius cultivators participating in the convention were very concerned. They would gather information, and they would understand that Xing Huasuni was the son of Xinghu Emperor. He had cultivated for 500 billion years, yet his Star Pagoda ranking was merely in the 3,600s. They would feel that it was unfair, and some of the higher-ups of the 6 great holy grounds would also know about it. As for the ordinary cultivators, they did not have detailed information on Xing Huasuni. They might even think that Xing Huasuni was a loose cultivator. Hence, they felt that Dongbu Shuiying's actions were unsightly. It was mainly a portion of the 16,000 genius cultivators participating in the convention, and a portion of the members of the 6 great holy grounds. The Star Pagoda preliminaries would select 100, and the teachers of the convention would select 100. After these 200 were selected, they would be qualified to enter the Pagoda of Time in Blade Emperor City and undergo 100-time acceleration cultivation. In reality, it was 1,000,000 years of cultivation. Furthermore, they could casually read through a large number of scriptures, and these were the more fundamental scriptures provided by the 6 great holy grounds. Because these 200 would eventually enter the 6 great holy grounds, and the 6 great holy grounds would be able to exchange their fundamental scriptures. Other than that, they would also provide some precious treasures. 1,000,000 years, countless scriptures, and being able to seek guidance from the teachers of the convention. This 1,000,000 years was simply a dream for many loose cultivators. If loose cultivators wanted to obtain a formidable absolute art, they would have to stake their lives and even rely on luck before they could obtain it. But now, a large number of absolute arts were placed in front of them. Xing Huasuni had to obediently follow the rules. Under the arrangements of the convention, he would undergo 100-time acceleration cultivation like the other chosen cultivators. On this day, Dongbua Shuang looked at the rising sun. It has been 10,000 years. Today is the day that this group of young fellows will battle. To him, 10,000 years was truly a short period of time. If it weren't for the occasional genius cultivators who came to ask for guidance, if he really calmed his heart and cultivated, 10,000 years would feel like a mere moment after some deduction and comprehension. South. After leaving the cave, Dongbua Shuang streaked across the sky. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master also flew over from afar. Dongbua. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and Dongbua Shuang were flying side by side. Even though this 10,000 years is short, there are still some fellows discussing in the dark, especially that one called Bai Yun Palace Master. I've heard that he has been talking about this matter with quite a few primal chaos giants. He even said that he wants to see you become a joke during the ranking battle. Bai Yun? Dongbua Shuang shook his head. This person was indeed narrow-minded and selfish. However, there were all sorts of cultivators, and extremely selfish ones were also very common. Those who submitted to me would prosper, and those who opposed me would perish. It was very normal for Bai Yun Palace Master to bear a grudge against him because of this matter. Laughing at me? Dongbua Shuang laughed. I'm afraid he won't have the chance. That's right. The inquisitive Heaven's Palace Master revealed a smile. So. The two of them flew to the venue of the Star Convention. The seating arrangement was the same as when the Star Convention was held. Dongbua Shuang was seated at the furthest of the 5 seats to the left of Heart Imitation Religious Master. Primal Chaos Giants came one after another. As for the genius cultivators who came to participate in the convention, they had all arrived long ago. Even though many of them were not chosen, they wanted to watch this public battle and see the gap in strength between them. There were also many cultivators in Blade Emperor City. Some were even children. They were looking forward to watching the battle. The 5 teachers of the convention have chosen 100 cultivators. The other 99 are fine, but that Xing Huasuni is unquestionably someone who relied on his background. He is the least qualified one. The many genius cultivators who were watching the battle felt indignant after knowing that they were not chosen. I've said before that he should not be a teacher of the convention. His foresight is clearly not as good as the other 4 teachers of the convention. It's not that his foresight is lacking. Instead, he is more easily bribed. Many genius cultivators were discussing through voice transmissions. Many of them were filled with resentment. If Xing Huasuni was not chosen, this slot might be given to one of them. Let's see. That Xing Huasuni is merely ranked 3,600th in the Star Pagoda preliminaries. In a while, he will be exposed during the battle. Heart Imitation Religious Master's voice was grand and mighty. It reverberated in the ears of every cultivator in the Star Convention, and even in their hearts. This time, the 200 cultivators who passed through the preliminaries will be split into 5 groups. 2 victors will be decided from each group. Ultimately, the 10 victors will fight against each other, and the top 5 will be decided based on their battle achievements. These top 5 can choose any of the 6 great holy grounds to join. Naturally, they will become core members of the holy ground and receive nurturing. Now, the first group will begin. Heart Imitation Religious Master's voice was gentle, yet it caused all the spectators to turn silent. Their gazes landed on a battle platform that was 50,000 kilometers long. At this moment, So. Many figures flew onto the battle platform. There were a total of 40 of them. This was the first group. During the arrangement of the battles, Heart Imitation Religious Master was in charge of arranging it. He would split some of the more powerful genius cultivators into 5 groups. Even so, there would still be 2 victors in each group. Furthermore, even if there were some extremely talented cultivators in a group, the other 200 would have to challenge the Star Pagoda. The teachers of the convention would then select another 5. Regardless, the purpose of the Star Convention was to select the 10 best genius cultivators. Hua. The 40 genius cultivators engaged in a chaotic battle on the battle platform. Some were blasted out of the platform, while others activated their survival treasures. Every one of them temporarily obtained a survival treasure that could be activated instantly. But the moment they activated their survival treasure, it would signify their defeat. They would have to obediently leave the battle platform. Being blasted out of the platform would signify their defeat, and the final 2 remaining on the platform would be the victors. Almost a breath of time later, there were only 8 genius cultivators left. The rest had been eliminated. Another 2 breaths of time later, there were only 3 genius cultivators left. The black cloud rumbled on the body of a genius cultivator, causing him to spurt out blood and fly out of the platform. After he flew out, he stared at the tall and big young man on the platform, thinking, "Tsang Cheong Tian Yun, you are ruthless." The first group included Tsang Cheong Tian Yun. He was the only 4th-level Star Pagoda expert in the Star Pagoda selections, and he had a clear advantage over the others. Previously, Tsang Cheong Tian Yun was the strongest of the 3 remaining cultivators, and the other 2 were comparable in strength. This cultivator who was blasted out of the platform even transmitted a message to Tsang Cheong Tian Yun, asking for his help, and he would definitely reward him with 10 Origin World Rocks. Who would have thought? Tsang Cheong Tian Yun directly blasted him down. Tsang Cheong Tian Yun is really formidable. He has a huge advantage. He is unquestionably the strongest cultivator in the first group. Even though the battle was fast, the spectators could see Tsang Cheong Tian Yun's strength. Second group. Third group. The selection of the groups was quick. Soon, it was time for the third group. The 40 cultivators of the third group flew up the battle platform. Amongst them was the golden-robed young man Xing Huasun. Just based on his appearance and temperament, Xing Huasun was relatively eye-catching. Xing Huasun is up. Look, in a while, he is going to be exposed. The genius cultivators who were not selected felt that it was unfair. They wanted to embarrass that unfair teacher of the convention, Donghua Shuiying. If the person he selected, Xing Huasun, were to lose miserably, it would naturally prove that he had no foresight and was unfair. It was not just the spectators below. Even the primal chaos giants on the high platform were paying close attention. They came to watch the convention, and had naturally heard of some rumors. Some of them could not help but glance at Donghua Shuiying, who was seated at the furthest corner of the 5 teachers of the convention. Donghua Shuiying sat there calmly, watching the battle that was about to begin on the enormous battle platform. General Heaven Light glanced at Donghua Shuiying with the corner of his eyes before continuing to watch the battle that was about to begin. The battle immediately erupted. The golden-robed young man Xing Huasun suddenly erupted with a layer of white light. This white illusory light enveloped the other 39 genius cultivators on the battle platform. This was none other than Xing Huasun's ancient cultivation illusory realm. Having reached such a realm in the Tao of Mirage, and having grasped the illusory mirage annihilation created by Donghua Shuiying, his original ancient cultivation illusory realm had naturally reached a brand new level. The terrifying illusory realm power caused close to half a day of cultivators present to fall into it. There were a few who struggled to stay awake, and only a few who remained completely awake. At the same time when he unleashed his illusory realm, Xing Huasun waved his hand. The fiery light abruptly charged against the bodies of the surrounding genius cultivators. His Tao of Mirage was at the 4th level Star Pagoda strength, and his bloodline cultivation did not improve by much, though it was still at the 3rd level strength. Currently, under the group attack, those who had fallen into the illusory realm, or were struggling to stay awake, could hardly resist. The fiery impact swept out, blasting many genius cultivators out of the battle platform. Only 8 of them were still able to resist. They were relatively strong, and their cultivation hearts were formidable too. But the 8 of them were looking at Xinghua Sun-yi with slight shock and disbelief. Not just them. Those genius cultivators below the platform who wanted to see Xinghua Sun-yi expose himself and wanted to prove that the teacher of the convention, Dongbui Shuiying, was unfair, had their mouths wide open. This was the strength of someone ranked 3,600th in the Star Pagoda preliminary selection. Why did it feel that he was even more tyrannical than the first-ranked Sangqiong Tianyun? And on the high platform, many primal chaos giants were shocked. Some could not help but look at that white-robed young man. Congratulations, Xinghua Emperor! Congratulations! Some primal chaos giants began conversing with Xinghua Emperor. They had good foresight. Controlling the illusory realm was definitely his own strength. It was impossible for it to be an external force. And over at the side of the 5 teachers of the convention, General Hatchet Palace Master glanced at the leftmost Dongbui Shuiying with interest. He revealed a grin and thought, interesting. In just 10,000 years, Xinghua Sun-yi has actually improved so much, and it is an illusory realm too? Dongbui Shuiying is also famous for his illusory realm. Elder Dongbui. Violet Slaughter Island Master's smile was absolutely beautiful. It was filled with a shocking allure. Truly formidable, truly formidable. No wonder you chose this Xinghua Sun-yi. In my opinion, he might be stronger than Sangqiong Tianyun. Dongbui Shuiying said instead. The illusory realm specializes in group attacks. As for who is stronger between this brat Sun-yi and Sangqiong Tianyun, we can only know during the final battle. Chapter 936. I am curious. General Hatchet Palace Master turned around and chuckled. Xinghua Sun-yi has cultivated for 500 billion years in the past, yet his illusory realm has become so formidable. Unless Xinghua could not find a good teacher for his son after so many years, his comprehension ability must be high for him to improve so much in such a short period. But with such a high comprehension ability, even if he does not have a good teacher, he should not be as weak as he was in the beginning. Elder Dongbo, can you dispel my doubts? Ha! By the side, Xinghua Emperor chuckled. General Hatchet, I can only say that Elder Dongbo is indeed the cultivator with the greatest attainment in the laws and profound mysteries system in the Tao of Mirage. His understanding of the illusory realm is amazing. Under his guidance, my son's understanding of the illusory realm has improved by leaps and bounds. I am very grateful to Elder Dongbo for digging out the potential of my son in the illusory realm. Haha, I have made the right choice in coming to this star convention. General Hatchet Palace Master was clearly asking Dongbui Shuiying, yet Xinghua Emperor took the initiative to interrupt. But the other primal case giants present were echoing along. What a joke. Heart Imitation Religious Master, General Hatchet Palace Master, Xinghua Emperor, they were the 3 strongest existences present. They stood at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm. They killed experts from the 7th floor of Star Tower in an instant. Killing those at the 8th level of Star Tower was an absolute suppression. Most could eliminate them with a few more moves. Their statuses were equivalent to the Unity Realm experts from the 7th floor of Star Tower. Hence, even the prideful General Heaven Light and the others revealed a smile even if they did not say anything. This Unity Realm brat actually made Xinghua Emperor protect and be grateful to him. General Heaven Light sat by the side of Dongbui Shuiying. Many thoughts flashed in his mind. He could sense that Xinghua Emperor was truly grateful to Dongbui Shuiying. He could also feel the boundless joy of Xinghua Emperor. Could it be that Xinghua Sun-yi's potential has really been unearthed by Dongbui Shuiying? General Heaven Light was in slight disbelief. Since Xinghua Emperor had already said it, what could General Tianguang do if he didn't believe it? In the world of cultivators, Respect for the strong had long been ingrained in their bones. Other than Dongbush Shuang, who was a Unity Realm expert, the others were all at the Primal Chaos Realm. From this, one could see how ordinary it was. Actually, it was normal. Primal Chaos giants could reach the 7th floor of Star Tower as long as they had sufficient accumulations. And in the Primal Chaos void of the 5 great sacred worlds, there was no Unity Realm expert on the 7th floor of Star Tower in this era. Primal Chaos Realm experts were naturally looking down on Unity Realm experts from a high position. Any incarnation they casually sent would be at the 5th or 6th level Star Pagoda strength, and could easily slaughter a large group of Unity Realm experts. Originally, they looked down on Dongbush Shuang in terms of strength. But after that, Dongbush Shuang actually disregarded his face and chose Xinghua Sun Yi. It made them look down on him even more. But now, it was a complete reversal. Firstly, Xinghua Sun Yi's strength was so terrifying. More importantly, he was very weak during the preliminary selections. Clearly, he had improved greatly within a short period. And the other 4 teachers of the convention did not choose him. Clearly, they did not know how frightening Xinghua Sun Yi's improvement was. If they knew, General Hatchet Palace Master and the others would definitely choose him. Only Dongbush Shuang knew and chose him. And it was an illusory realm. Even though they did not know how Dongbush Shuang did it, and how did he make Xinghua Sun Yi so formidable, it made them admire this Unity Realm teacher of the convention even more. Secondly, and also the most important, they could feel that Xinghua Emperor was very grateful and protective of Dongbush Shuang. Just this point alone made it so that they could not look down on Dongbush Shuang. The selection of the 5 groups ended very quickly. 2 cultivators were chosen for each group, for a total of 10. These 10 genius cultivators began fighting one-on-one. Each of them had to fight 9 battles, and the top 5 would be decided based on the final battle results. Until now, battles were very important. The top 200 of the Star Convention's preliminaries would not be considered a core even if they joined the 6 great sacred grounds. At most, they would receive the most ordinary treatment. And the final 10 who joined the 6 great sacred grounds would become the core, and they would be nurtured with all their might. Boom! The shockwaves of the battle reverberated across the 100,000 li battle stage. Tsang Qiong Tian Yun, victory! Each of them had 9 battles, for a total of 45 battles. These battles were much more interesting. All of them had extremely high comprehension abilities, and many of their techniques were rather ingenious. This made the countless cultivators watching the battle below very excited. Xinghua Sun Yi victory! Xinghua Sun Yi stood on the battle stage. He did not move at all. He had already fought 5 battles. His battles were the most dazzling. Because in every battle, he would stand on the same spot without moving. Usually, he would use his illusory realm first. Even if one could resist against the illusory realm, the opponent's strength would drop by a lot. Secondly, he would use the world prison. Usually, a total of 6 layers of the world prison would descend. Layers of the world prison would wrap around the enemy. Usually, the enemy would not be able to struggle after being bound and would be chased out of the battle stage. He had won 5 consecutive battles so easily. What a terrifying illusory realm! His binding technique is truly terrifying. Even 3rd-level Star Pagoda experts can't struggle free after being bound. The more than 10,000 talented cultivators who failed to be selected were all exclaiming in admiration. 10,000 years ago, he was just at the 2nd-level Star Pagoda. In the blink of an eye, he has become so powerful. Elder Dongbo is so amazing in guiding his disciples. The talented cultivators who failed to be selected previously felt that Dongbush Shuang was unfair. But now, they felt that the other party was too amazing in guiding his disciples. I've gone to seek guidance before, but why didn't I improve by much? Who asked you not to cultivate in the illusory realm? Right, Elder Dongbo might specialize in the illusory realm. We aren't experts in the illusory realm either. You are also the sons of Xinghua Emperor. With Elder Dongbo guiding you, why would he do his best? Many cultivators were discussing among themselves. Envy, jealousy. But no matter what, they acknowledged Elder Dong Bo's foresight and ability to guide his disciples. Xing Huasuni finally moved. When facing a void creature called Kan Yong, he had to execute the second style of the absolute art Mirage Annihilation created by Dongbua Shuang, the Mirage Annihilation. He was even forced to execute 3 Mirage Annihilation at the same time before he could heavily injure Kan Yong, forcing him to admit defeat. 45 battles were being fought continuously. Finally, it was the final battle. Those in charge of arranging the battles of the Star Convention had deliberately placed the battle between Tsang Qiong Tianyun and Xing Huasuni as the final battle. The two of them had won all 8 battles previously. Whoever won this battle would have won all 9 battles, and would unquestionably become the strongest expert in this Star Convention. Actually, the two of them would definitely be ranked in the top 5, and would be nurtured as the core disciples. But the two of them were filled with fighting spirit. Hong Tsang Qiong Tianyun stood there. His body was majestic, and rolling black clouds surrounded his body. Clearly, his fleshy body was incredibly strong. The young-looking Xing Huasuni stood at the other end of the battle stage. His aura was reserved, and he seemed like an ordinary youth without any threat. But suddenly, a faint white light erupted from his body. This faint white light instantly enveloped the entire battle stage. It has begun! Heart Imitation Religious Master, General Hatchet Palace Master, Xinghua Emperor, Heaven Light Religious Master, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, Dongbua Shuang and the others were all carefully watching the battle from the high platform. They might not care much about the previous battles, but this battle was the most important battle of the entire Star Convention. Chapter 937. In this battle, Tsang Qiong Tianyun and Xing Huasuni had both sunk into a bitter battle. In the previous 8 battles, the two of them had never been so strenuous. Tsang Qiong Tianyun's body was tyrannical, and it was rare amongst those at the same level. His close combat attacks were similarly fierce and ruthless. After being guided by General Hatchet Palace Master and the other teachers of the convention, his body and close combat attacks were comparable to those at the 5th level Star Pagoda. But he had an obvious weakness too, and that was that his movement technique was too weak. In his previous battles, many talented cultivators could surpass him in terms of movement technique speed. But because his weakness was too obvious, his overall strength could only be considered at the peak of the 4th level Star Pagoda standard. When dealing with other opponents, Tsang Qiong Tianyun was also very simple, directly attacking from a distance. With a single punch, even if it was a long-range attack, it was enough to defeat his opponent. Unfortunately, it was useless against Xing Huasuni. Xing Huasuni's ancient cultivator illusory realm was extremely extraordinary. Even though Tsang Qiong Tianyun was able to resist against it, he was always distracted and his strength was affected. The most important thing was the bubble's shadow destruction. Its destructive power was extremely strong, and 3 consecutive bubbles stacked together was enough to damage Tsang Qiong Tianyun's life force. One by one, the bubbles enveloped Tsang Qiong Tianyun. Tsang Qiong Tianyun furiously tried to break them apart, but each time he did, the bubbles would also damage him. Most importantly, Bubble's shadow also had a binding effect. His long-range attacks couldn't break the bubble, and he couldn't get close to Xing Huasuni either. As a result, he could only waste his time. Break! Break! Tsang Qiong Tianyun roared furiously as he frantically attacked the bubbles that were trying to restrain him. The world bubbles were unending, causing Tsang Qiong Tianyun to feel very uncomfortable. Occasionally, he would rush out and attack Xing Huasuni with his arms expanding, and a new bubble would descend. Xing Huasuni was also very careful. Under the berserk state, Tsang Qiong Tianyun's attacks were too ferocious. With just one move, Tsang Qiong Tian would have to activate his protective treasure and lose. His body is too strong. Xing Huasuni also felt that it was very strenuous. Bubble annihilation was his strongest move, and he could only unleash 3 world bubbles at the same time with his full strength. And with this, he could barely injure his opponent. The strength of his body was simply too heaven-defying. In this battle, Xinghua Sunyi had been very careful and did not let Seng Qiong Tianyun get close to him. On the other hand, Seng Qiong Tianyun was like a peerless beast. He did not dare to become too big, as the bigger his body was, the weaker his defense would be. Maintaining a normal size was the best defense. From time to time, his arms would expand as he prepared to launch a sneak attack. A full 10 minutes passed. As Seng Qiong Tianyun's life force continued to deplete, he finally admitted defeat unwillingly. I lost. Seng Qiong Tianyun thought to himself. In the future, I must think of a way to increase the speed of my movement technique. In the past, he had spent all his energy on the 12 Calamities universe body that he had obtained through a fortuitous encounter. This was the ultimate skill of the strongest warrior system. The goal of this ultimate skill was to pursue an indestructible body with an extremely strong defense. The more extreme the pursuit of an extremely strong body's defense, the more powerful the attack would be. However, the speed of the movement technique would become very weak. This was the weakness of this technique. General Hatchet Palace Lord, General Tianguang, and Elder Dongbua have all said that cultivating in other systems can make up for this weakness. Seng Qiong Tianyun thought. 10,000 years was too short, and he required a longer period to cultivate. He believed that as long as he could make up for this weakness, he would be able to reach the 5th level of Star Pagoda strength. Seng Qiong Tianyun, who would have thought that your body is so formidable? Admirable. Xinghua Sunyi was indeed admirable. His father, Xinghua Emperor, other than being famous for his flames, had a strong body even amongst those at the 9th level Star Pagoda strength. Hence, Xinghua Sunyi cultivated in the bloodline cultivation system, and his body was considered relatively strong. But compared to Seng Qiong Tianyun, he was far weaker. He knew that Seng Qiong Tianyun definitely had an amazing absolute art, but so what? He, Xinghua Sunyi, could easily obtain many absolute arts. The core members of the Holy Grounds could obtain Cosmos-ranked absolute arts, but so what? Ultimately, the cultivators had to cultivate it themselves. I admire you more. You have improved so much in just a short 10,000 years. I accept my loss wholeheartedly, Seng Qiong Tianyun said. Even though Xinghua Sunyi and Seng Qiong Tianyun, the two most dazzling genius cultivators of this star convention, were conversing and walking down the battle platform. But on the high platform, the primal chaos giants could not help but look at that white-robed young man seated at the edge of the seats of the 5 teachers of the convention. They knew that in this star convention, the name of Dongbua Shuang would definitely spread amongst the many primal chaos giants. Because his performance was truly dazzling. There were even many mysteries. Xinghua Sunyi, with that background, Dongbua Shuang was actually able to help him improve so much in just a short 10,000 years. From being ranked 3,600th in the Star Pagoda preliminaries to becoming the champion in the final decisive battle. Unfathomable. Dongbua Shuang. A cold voice came from the side. Dongbua Shuang looked over. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, who was standing not far away, still had a cold expression. Only his gaze towards Dongbua Shuang had changed slightly. Congratulations, the Xinghua Sunyi you chose has become the champion this time. It's because his comprehension ability is high. Dongbua Shuang immediately chuckled. He understood that with the personality of 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, it was rare for him to take the initiative to congratulate someone. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor finished speaking before turning his head downwards. The 200 genius cultivators were all recovering their strength. Some who were heavily injured were even being treated by the experts arranged by the Star Pagoda Convention. Very soon, they were all heading towards the Star Pagoda, taking the initiative to challenge the Star Pagoda. Their performance in the decisive battle, their performance in challenging the Star Pagoda twice, and also their performance in seeking guidance from the teachers of the convention in the next 10,000 years. According to many factors, the 5 teachers of the convention would choose another 5 cultivators. Together with the top 5 in the final battle, there would be a total of 10 cultivators. They could choose any holy ground to join and become a core member, receiving full nurturing. With just 200 cultivators, it was very fast for them to challenge the Star Pagoda. There were a total of 3 who reached the 4th level star pagoda this time: Xinghua Sun Yi, Sangqiong Tianyun, and Kan Yong. There were 169 at the 3rd level star pagoda, and the remaining 28 were at the 2nd level star pagoda. Donghua, make your preparations. 10,000 years later, all of you will have to preach the Tao publicly. Everyone stood up and left. Xinghua Emperor, Donghua Shuang, and inquisitive Sky Hall Master flew side by side. Amen. Donghua Shuang felt relatively relaxed. In the next 10,000 years, they could just choose one more person. Even though this quota was important, the difficulty wasn't too big. By then, they would conduct a public Tao lecture with the other 4 teachers of the convention. It was also a huge opportunity for the weaker cultivators. After the Tao lecture, the convention would officially end. At least this convention did not disgrace my great void heaven temple, Donghua Shuang thought. He had a grin on his face. The Star Convention had reached its later stages. Great Void Heaven Temple's Donghua Shuang was also being mentioned by many primal chaos giants. And at this moment, an event that could shake the entire 5 great sacred worlds of the primal chaos void happened in the Myriad Ancient Sacred World. Myriad Ancient Sacred World, there was a courtyard deep in the mountains. 1. A low ripple was emitted from within the courtyard. It seemed unremarkable. But the courtyard silently turned into ruins. Some of the surrounding mountains, rocks, and plants similarly withered. The disturbance was small, but it represented that the power was being restrained. The silver-haired golden-horned man, Gu Qi, stood within the courtyard that had turned into ruins. His body seemed to have split into more than 100 pieces. These pieces had already fused together to form a human figure. It's just that there was a black light emitting from the cracks on his body. This black light was constantly spreading in all directions. Furthermore, there was a clear hole in his chest. Gu Qi held onto the hole in his chest. He was staring straight ahead. A figure was standing in front of him. As he stood there, the space around him became quiet and docile. The surrounding world had completely submitted to him. Even though the Myriad Ancient Sacred World was jointly created by Wu Zhu and Jie Zhu, the Myriad Ancient Sacred World was a world that had been created by both Wu Zhu and Jie Zhu. But as long as he was here, the surrounding world would submit to him. His skin was white, and the contours of his face were gentle. Even though he wasn't absolutely beautiful, any handsome male or beautiful female would pale in comparison to him. His appearance seemed to contain part of the supreme law of the primal chaos void. Looking at his appearance was akin to looking at the supreme law. Even cosmos gods could not help but feel like children looking at their parents. There was a gentle smile on his face, and his eyes were also very sincere. A husband who had become Tao companions for life and death could only look at his wife with such sincerity. Saint Lord! Gu Dai opened his mouth with difficulty. His voice was hoarse, and there was a faint black light in his throat. In order to kill me, you really put in a lot of effort. I'm only letting you return to the primal chaos. Saint Lord was gentle and sincere. Those who obstruct me will return to the primal chaos, and those who obey me will submit to me. In the future, when I control the entire primal chaos void, I'll summon you out once again. You will also be incomparably loyal to me. By then, the entire primal chaos void will be like a family, and everything will be peaceful. How good is that? Saint Lord walked over. He extended his hand. His palm was white and gentle. He caressed Gu Dai's face. I don't have any killing intent towards you, nor do I have any hatred towards you. It's just that you have obstructed me, and I can only temporarily let you return to the primal chaos. Go, just like sleeping. When I summon you, you will wake up. Gu Dai wanted to retreat, but the black light had already enveloped his entire body. His body was starting to solidify, and he could not move at all. Even his mouth could not move. Summon me? Just you, and you want to control the entire primal chaos void? Gu Dai controlled the void to emit a voice. His skin had already started turning into a black jade stone. His eyes were staring at Saint Lord in front of him. Nobody can obstruct me. You will see that day. By then, you will also be my child. Saint Lord turned around and looked to the distance. A figure had already appeared in the distance. Wu Zu stood there with black chains surrounding his body. Clearly, he was extremely vigilant as he stared at Saint Lord in the distance. Nobody can obstruct me from doing what I want to do. You can't obstruct me either. Saint Lord looked at Wu Zu. Although I can't bear to obstruct you, I can only temporarily let you return to the primal chaos. Saint Lord smiled. He disappeared from the myriad ancient sacred world just like that, as though he had never appeared. Wu Zu's expression was very ugly. He turned his head and looked at Gu Dai, who had turned into a black jade stone statue. He sighed. Gu Dai, I wasn't able to protect you. Gu Dai, who had turned into a jade stone statue, his soul was also solidifying. His thoughts were rapidly slowing down. Fortunately, I have a disciple. It's just that my disciple, I haven't had the time to see you. Gu Dai's thoughts were getting slower and slower. In the end, it completely stopped. The black jade stone statue no longer had any fluctuations. It was as though it was absolutely dead. It stood there silently and looked into the distance. Gu Dai was ultimately killed by Saint Lord. Wu Zu first transmitted the news to Gu Dai's teacher, Void Primogenitor. Void Primogenitor was completely stunned when he heard the news. He sat by himself for a very long time. He only felt heartache and self-blame. His heartache was because he could not forget the time he spent teaching Gu Dai. That carefree disciple was also his most outstanding disciple. Self-blame was because he was too weak and could not protect his disciple. Closely following that, the news naturally spread across many Final Realm existences. All Final Realm existences knew about it. Even though Wu Zu obstructed him, Sacred Master still killed another Cosmos God. This time, the Cosmos God who fell was called Gu Dai. Chapter 938. Within the Blade Emperor city, Dongbua Shuang was still guiding the talented cultivators who came to seek his guidance. The Unity Realm, as the name suggests, is to fuse everything into one, turning into one. This one is the pinnacle. It is like the extreme point, the origin. What you need to do now, in simpler words, is to walk towards the extreme. Dongbua Shuang looked at the scaled-tailed female cultivator in front of him, and chuckled. Don't think about surpassing the pinnacle. Your current realm is still too low, so don't bite off more than you can chew. First, pursue the pinnacle. You have to reach the 5th level Star Pagoda strength before you are qualified to surpass the pinnacle. Dongbua Shuang explained. He then casually demonstrated. You see, your techniques can be displayed to the pinnacle. For instance, this. The eyes of this female cultivator brightened as she watched. She was ranked in the top 100 during the preliminary selections. She had never sought guidance from Dongbua Shuang since she felt that a Unity Realm expert was not worth it. And after seeing Xinghua Sunyi's performance, she came to seek guidance from him. She discovered that Dongbua Shuiying's guidance on the slaughter aspect might be simple, but it pointed to the essence. The more profound a cultivator was, the more concise and direct his guidance would be. Dongbua, hurry up and come out! A voice sounded by the ears of Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua Shuang was stunned. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master? Let's stop here for now. I still have something to do and will be leaving first. Dongbua Shuang stood up. Yes. The female cultivator did not dare to say much. She obediently acknowledged. Dongbua Shuang then immediately walked out of the cavern dwelling. Outside the cavern dwelling, Dongbua Shuang saw Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master transmitted. Go, old ancestor has asked you to hurry back to the Great Void Heaven Temple. I will bring you over now. So urgent? Dongbua Shuang was startled. This was still the Star Convention. Go. Dongbua Shuang followed them obediently. He had a lot of time to guide those genius cultivators. After all, there were only 200 people who passed the preliminaries, and it would be a long time before one of them came to him for guidance. The two of them left the Saber Imperial City and followed the inquisitive Sky Hall Master through an ultra-long distance teleportation. They arrived at the Great Void Heaven Temple directly. Great Void Heaven Temple. In Forefather Tianyu's residence, he summoned Dongbua Shuang alone. How strange. The Star Convention hasn't ended yet you've summoned me back? Dongbua Shuang was puzzled as he walked into the courtyard of Forefather Tianyu's residence. Along the way, none of the attendants stopped him. Soon, he arrived at a towering tree. The hunchbacked old man, Forefather Tianyu, was sitting cross-legged under the tree. Old ancestor. Dongbua Shuang bowed respectfully. Forefather Tianyu looked at Dongbua Shuang. After a moment of silence, he said, "There's something I need to tell you. Your master, Gu Qi, is already dead." Dongbua Shuang was startled as he stood there blankly. His mind was in a state of shock. His master, Gu Qi, is dead? How? Dongbua Shuang couldn't help but want to ask. He was killed by the sacred master. I believe that very soon, the upper echelons of the various sacred lands will spread this news, Forefather Tianyu said. At this moment, countless distracting thoughts appeared in Dongbua Shuang's mind. In terms of feelings, back then, when his father, mother, younger brother, Uncle Zong, and Uncle Tong died, that was truly painful. Back then, when his wife, Jing Qiu's soul was on the verge of dissipating, he felt that the entire world had lost its color. In his heart, Dongbua Shuang's feelings towards his master, whom he had never truly met or had a proper conversation with, were much weaker. But he still respected this master a lot. Strictly speaking, the only time he truly chatted with his master, Gu Qi, was when he inherited the inheritance in his hometown Cosmos. That time, the incarnation of his master remained there. At that time, the incomparably huge incarnation of the Cosmos God spoke a whole bunch of things. Who would have thought that I, Gu Qi, would actually have a disciple? The feeling of having a disciple is really weird. This is also my first time accepting a disciple, and I don't know how to teach a disciple. Until now, you haven't even greeted me as your master, right? Even though I didn't teach you much and the Walker's hidden secret wasn't created by me, I have still imparted the Tao to you. I have also imparted a protective treasure to you. That time, the huge incarnation of the Cosmos God looked at his disciple. Disciple Dongbua Shuang greets master. Dongbua Shuang acknowledged him as his master. The huge incarnation of the Cosmos God laughed at that time. Hence, on the path of cultivation, Dongbua Shuang had an additional master called Gu Qi. He had never seen his true body before. And Gu Qi finally had a disciple. He was also his only disciple. Previously, when he fought with Lei Yan, his name had spread across the 5 great sacred worlds. His teacher Gu Qi knew about it too. He even knew that Shuang cultivated both the Imperial Dragon inheritance and Cinnabar inheritance through the scenes of the battle. He had even sent over the materials required to cultivate these 2 inheritances. That time, he only left behind a recording. Haha, the only disciple of I, Gu Qi, is so formidable. I really wish to flaunt it in front of the other old fellows. It's a pity that you are my disciple, and this matter has to be kept a secret. It isn't suitable for me to meet you. Once this trouble is over, we, teacher and disciple, will meet again and drink a few cups of wine. Cultivate properly, and don't slack off. All right, I won't say any more. That recording was simple. Dongbua Shuang had once thought that when he became stronger, and when there was no longer a need to keep his identity as Gu Qi's disciple a secret, he would pay a visit to his teacher and have a good chat with him. Dongbua Shuang stood there. He felt terrible in his heart. He could feel that his teacher Gu Qi was truly concerned about him. He was even afraid that Dongbua Shuang would be implicated, and had kept their teacher-disciple relationship a secret. This world was vast and boundless. But how many of them truly loved him from the bottom of their hearts and treated him as a relative? But now, one of them was gone. AI. Forefather Tianyu sighed too. Cosmos gods. Since the primitive ancient sacred world until now, only a few cosmos gods had emerged. Even though some had died, the fall of every single cosmos god was a world-shaking event. Forefather Tianyu might be stronger than Guqi, but he was merely at the third level. Over a long period, the two were good friends. Now that Guqi had died, he felt sorrowful. Ying. Forefather Tianyu flipped his hand, causing a piece of golden square seal to appear. Don't wish swaying. Forefather Tianyu said. Your teacher should know that he has truly offended Sacred Master. Given the temperament of Sacred Master, it is impossible for him to let this matter rest. Even though he was thinking of ways to preserve his life, it would be hard for him to survive if Sacred Master went crazy. Thus, he left all his treasures with his teacher, Void Primogenitor. Even if he died, he would not let Sacred Master benefit from it. After having you as his only disciple, he left behind an order that if he died, you would inherit all his treasures. Void Primogenitor sent it over. And now it is yours. Forefather Tianyu said. Dongbu Shuang looked at that piece of golden square seal in the hand of Forefather Tianyu. He felt terrible in his heart. His teacher Gu Qi had clearly treated him as a relative by leaving the treasures to him. This shouldn't be the case. Dongbu Shuang shook his head. This shouldn't be the case. That time, teacher had been fleeing for his life and drifting in the primal chaos void. At that time, he did not have the protection of Wu Zu. He could escape for a long period by himself, and even Sacred Master could not kill him. With the help of Wu Zu, why did he die instead? Chapter 939. He could survive for so long even though he was fleeing for his life, yet he died despite being protected by Wu Zu. That is the truth. Forefather Tianyu softly shook his head. That time when your teacher was heavily injured and escaped, Sacred Master had chased after your teacher several times, yet he failed every single time. Sacred Master thought that your teacher would die after suffering such heavy injuries, and was not willing to pay such a huge price. But your teacher is a void walker, and his life force is incredibly strong. He managed to recover over the years. Even though the two great religions have a total of 3 cosmos gods, only Sacred Master could threaten the life of your teacher. Your teacher was not willing to remain vigilant at all times, which was why he ultimately asked for help from Wu Zu. Dongbu Shuang listened carefully. Of the 2 great religions, the Ancestor Mother religion only had a single cosmos god, Ancestor Mother. But that was in existence second only to Sacred Master, and could fight against Sacred Master directly. Other than Sacred Master, the ancient sacred religion had another cosmos god, Lightning God Master. Lightning God Master was the only cultivator who became a cosmos god out of the many cultivators loyal to Sacred Master. Of course, he was merely at the 3rd level. To many cosmos gods he posed little threat. When your teacher was escaping, he was constantly vigilant. The moment he sensed an attack, he would immediately activate his survival treasures. Furthermore, he would immediately teleport through an ultra-long distance. Forefather Tianyu said. Even though his strength is far from Sacred Master's, cosmos gods usually have 1 or 2 survival treasures. Those without would ask Wu Zu to refine one for them. Most would be able to resist for a few moments. He became a cosmos god through the Void Walker lineage. In the Void aspect, the Void Primogenitor is ranked first, and he is ranked second. Naturally, he is above Sacred Master. Thus, your teacher was able to resist against the sneak attacks from Sacred Master several times. He then used an ultra-long-distance void teleportation to escape. In terms of escaping, he is quite amazing. It's just that he did not dare to relax at all times. It is too tiring. Forefather Tianyu sighed. In the end, Wu Zu helped him. Forefather Tianyu said. Wu Zu specialized in arrays the most. The arrays he constructed for your teacher are something that even Sacred Master would need a few breaths of time to break. And the myriad ancient sacred world was created by Wu Zu Jiezu. As long as the array was attacked, Wu Zu would be able to rush over immediately. With Wu Zu blocking him, the Sacred Lord has no hope of killing your master. Logically speaking, your master should be very safe. What a pity. Your teacher had offended the Saint Master so much that the Saint Master spared no expense to use the origin power of the ancient Saint Incarnation to create the Netherworld Jade Spear. The Netherworld Jade Spear instantly pierced through the sorcerer ancestor's array and pierced your teacher's body. Forefather Tianyu shook his head. Everything happened in an instant. Even when your master activated his life-preserving treasure, it was still penetrated, and he died on the spot. Ancient Sage Incarnation, Nether Jade Spear? Dongbua Shuang asked. These involve some secrets. Only a portion of primal chaos existences know about it. Forefather Tianyu said, You should know that the Saint Master had started multiple wars. But his territory, the ancient sacred world, had to be guarded. The Lightning God Master was unable to do so with his strength. Make a guess, when his true body was fighting outside, who was guarding the ancient sacred world? Dongbua Shuang was startled. That's right. With the hatred between the three great sacred worlds and the two great religions, if the ancient sacred world did not have any absolute experts guarding it, it would have long been destroyed. We have to talk about the ancient cultivation techniques of the Saint Master. Forefather Tianyu said, There are strong and weak ancient cultivation talents. The talent of the Saint Master allowed one of his incarnations to become the faith core of the entire religion. He was able to convert the faith into the origin power of the primal chaos void. The origin power is a power that is even more terrifying than the cosmos god energy. Over the long years, countless faith would be converted to strengthen that incarnation. His true body would also become stronger as a result. According to our judgment during the battle, that incarnation of his is comparable to his true body. This incarnation is formed from the convergence of countless origin power. It is the faith core of the entire ancient sacred religion. We call it the ancient saint incarnation. The ancient saint incarnation emits light day and night, illuminating the entire ancient sacred world. Countless life forms have faith in him. He has even become one with the entire ancient sacred world. He is even stronger within the ancient sacred world, and we are unable to destroy the ancient sacred world. Dongbua Shuang nodded. And the Saint Master has an extremely powerful technique. It is to refine the origin power accumulated by the ancient saint incarnation into weapons and treasures. Of course, these weapons and treasures are one-time use. Once the origin power within is used up, it will disappear. Forefather Tianyu said, The Underworld Jade Spear is an extremely famous technique. A single Underworld Jade Spear would probably exhaust 10% to 20% of the origin power of the ancient saint incarnation. One must know that the ancient saint incarnation has to maintain at least half of the origin power. Otherwise, its power would drop. Who knows how long Sacred Master has been accumulating this 20% of origin power? He has no other choice, and he hates your master to the extreme. That's why he did this. Forefather Tianyu shook his head. Why does he hate me so much? Dongbua Shuang could not help but ask. Forefather Tianyu hesitated for a moment. Because there were too many secrets behind this, he still replied vaguely. There are too many implications. All you know is that he caused the Saint Master's plan to go to waste. In the past, the Saint Master could not bear to use his origin power. However, his plan failed. Just to vent his anger, he used the Underworld Jade Spear to destroy the Wu Zu's array and kill Gu Qi. Clearly, the Saint Master is no longer as patient as he was in the past. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. This is what your master left for you. Keep it well. With a thought from Forefather Tianyu, the golden seal flew in front of Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua Shuang looked at the golden seal. He stretched out his hand and started refining it. As he was refining it, a voice entered his ears. Disciple, I'm afraid that I'm already dead. Don't be sad. I've been hiding within the Wu Zu's array. The Saint Master would definitely have to pay a huge price to kill me. Also, remember that you can forget about taking revenge for me. With your strength, the Saint Master can exterminate you with just a breath. I, Gu Qi, only have you as my disciple. Cultivate properly and help me gain some face. Wait until you become a cosmos god, and at the second level at that time, you can announce to the public that you are the disciple of I, Gu Qi. Before that, the matter of you being my disciple must be kept a secret." The voice dissipated. Dongbu Shuang held on to the golden seal and remained silent for a long time. That day will come. Many cultivators in the 5 great sacred worlds and primal chaos void will know that I, Dongbu Shuang, am the disciple of Void Walker Gu Qi. Dongbu Shuang thought in his heart, also, I'll definitely take revenge for you. I know I'm weak, but there will be a day when I'm strong enough to fight against the Saint Master. He checked the golden seal. The golden seal was by itself a cosmos-graded Eden treasure. There were many rare treasures within. After all, this was all the treasures left behind by Cosmos God. Even though Gu Qi was only a 3rd-level Cosmos God, and his foundation was weaker than Forefather Tian Yu and Void Primogenitor. Adding up all the treasures, Dongbu Shuang could deduce that they were worth a total of 360,000 origin world rocks. That was truly terrifying. Forefather. Dongbu Shuang waved his hand, causing a piece of black stone and a fiery red armor to be taken out by him. The black stone was about the size of a palm. The moment it appeared, the surrounding space immediately collapsed. Furthermore, the scale of the collapse was extending outwards. Dongbu Shuang immediately controlled his law domain to suppress the power of this piece of stone. And after the fiery red armor appeared, Dongbu Shuang extended his hand to grab it. This armor seemed ordinary, yet it was ridiculously heavy. Even with Dongbu Shuang being a void walker and cultivating in the Imperial Dragon inheritance, he felt his arm trembling slightly when he grabbed it. If it were any heavier, he might not be able to grab it. These 2 treasures are the most precious. I hope Forefather can help me keep them. If I, Dongbu Shuang, were to accidentally lose my life, I can't let the enemy take advantage of me. Dongbu Shuang said. These were treasures that only Cosmos Gods could use, and it was meaningless for him to bring them along. All right. Forefather Tian Yu nodded. How about this? I'll help you keep them. These 2 treasures will be valued at 300,000 origin world rocks. In the future, if you purchase any more expensive treasures, and it isn't suitable for you to appear, you can just find me to buy them for you. You can deduct it from this 300,000 origin world rocks. Many thanks, Forefather. Dongbu Shuang immediately said. That day, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master brought Dongbu Shuang back to the Blade Emperor City. Being the teacher of the convention, he still had a responsibility. Within the Blade Emperor City, there were many cavern dwellings in 2s and 3s. These were specially prepared for the esteemed guests of the Blade Emperor City to stay in. The Primal Chaos Giant stayed here too, and Dongbu Shuang stayed here too. When Dongbu Shuang and Inquisitive Sky Hall Master returned side by side. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, Elder Dongbu, come over quickly. There were 3 Primal Chaos Giants currently drinking and chatting at the peak of a small mountain. Seeing Dongbu Shuang and Inquisitive Sky Hall Master flying across the sky, they immediately called out. Dongbu Shuang and Inquisitive Sky Hall Master naturally could not ignore them. They immediately descended over. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, have you heard? Something huge has happened. Voidwalker Senior Gu Qi has died. He was killed by Sacred Master. What? Senior Gu Qi is dead? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was startled. Even though he brought Dongbu Shuang back, he did not know about this matter. Senior Gu Qi is under the protection of Wu Zhu in the myriad ancient sacred world. How could he die? I don't know much now. I've also just heard that Senior Gu Qi has died. I'm not sure how Sacred Master killed him. He should have paid a huge price. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and the 3 Primal Chaos Giants immediately began discussing. They were making all sorts of guesses. Dongbu Shuang did not interrupt them. He only listened silently. The 4 Primal Chaos Giants did not care too much about it. In their opinion, Dongbu Shuang, who had cultivated for a short period and was merely at the Unity Realm, should have little understanding of the battles between Final Realm existences. But they did not know, Dongbu Shuang, who stood by their side, was the only disciple of Gu Qi. Chapter 940. Gucci was a cosmos god that stood high above in the 5 great sacred worlds of the primal chaos void. His fall had shocked these primal chaos giants too. They could even faintly smell the scent of war. Senior Gucci is a void walker and is extremely proficient in escaping. Even he was killed. Saint Lord is so crazy. Could it be that he wants to start another war? More and more destruction devils are emerging at the boundary of the void. Everyone says that this piece of primal chaos void is getting closer and closer to destruction. Is it because Sacred Master is losing his patience? This lunatic, it's all because of him. Including Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, the 4 primal chaos giants were discussing among themselves. When they mentioned the Sacred Master, they were gritting their teeth. Other than Sacred Master, there were other great devils like Ancestor Mother. But the threat of other devils was limited. Only Sacred Master was recognized as a first-level cosmos god. He transcended all other cosmos gods. If the 3 great sacred worlds did not unite against him, the entire primal chaos void would be ruled by the Sacred Master. A long time ago, during the era of the primitive ancient saint world, the Sacred Master had already started multiple wars and had almost conquered the entire primitive ancient saint world. But in the end, they fought until the primitive ancient sacred world shattered. Even though many cosmos gods fell, Sacred Master remained standing at the peak. Be it the era of the primitive ancient sacred world or the era of the primal chaos void, even though the Sacred Master had stirred up wars, he had failed every single time. Clearly, in terms of overall strength, we have the upper hand. In the discussion, Inquisitive Heavenly Palace Master looked at Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua, you should go back first. I didn't expect to hear such terrible news the moment I returned to Saber Imperial City. The other 3 Primal Caves realm experts also spoke. Elder Dongbua, you should go back and rest first. You don't have to worry. Every single cosmos god has reached the pinnacle in a certain aspect. Even the Sacred Master would find it hard to kill any one of them. Even if the sky collapses, there are still cosmos gods. The cosmos gods can naturally deal with everything. In their eyes, Dongbua Shuang was ultimately only at the Unity realm. Furthermore, he had only cultivated for a short period of time. Thus, he probably had very little understanding of the battles of the higher realms. Thus, Dongbua Shuang consoled him. But it was different for them at the Primal Chaos realm. They were the group of existences closest to the Cosmos God realm, and knew many secrets of the highest level. Fellow cultivators, I'll be returning first. Dongbua Shuang immediately left, leaving behind the 4 Primal Chaos experts to continue their discussion. Swoosh! Streaking across the sky, Dongbua Shuang soon arrived at his cave abode and dove down. When the 2 guards at the entrance of the cave saw Dongbua Shuang descending, they hurriedly bowed and greeted. Elder. Yes. With a calm expression, Dongbua Shuang entered the cave abode. The elder doesn't seem to be the same as before. Is he in a bad mood? The 2 guards looked at each other and muttered to themselves. As Dongbua Shuang walked in the cave abode, the maids and servants greeted him along the way. Elder. When a serving girl saw Dongbua Shuang from afar, she hurriedly stopped and greeted respectfully. I'll be in seclusion for a few days. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important. Dongbua Shuang ordered coldly. Yes. The maid immediately responded. Dongbua Shuang turned around and entered the quiet room at the side. Rumble. The door to the quiet room closed, and the incense was lit up. A faint fragrance permeated the entire room. Dongbua Shuang waved his hands and a silver silk praying mat appeared beside him. He then sat down cross-legged. The formless coolness of the silver silk praying mat permeated his entire body. The incense in the room also calmed his heart. Who? Dongbua Shuang let out a long breath. Stretching out his left hand, a golden seal appeared in his palm. Looking at the golden seal, killing intent radiated from Dongbua Shuang's face. Ridiculous. So what if I'm angry? In front of the Saint Master, I'm nothing but an ant. Dongbua Shuang kept the golden seal as he tried his best to calm his heart. Given his cultivation heart, he was able to calm himself down gradually. However, the anger and killing intent in his heart was unable to dissipate in a short period of time. He could only forcefully suppress it. Suppress, and suppress again. He suppressed it deep in his heart. Because taking revenge for his master was something that was destined to happen in the distant future. Teacher, I'm your only disciple. If I don't take revenge for you, who else would? Dongbush Shuang thought. His grand teacher, Void Primogenitor, should be furious too. But Void Primogenitor was ultimately a third-level cosmos god and could barely protect himself. Without reaching the second level of strength, it was impossible for him to fight against the Saint Master directly. Even though the road is long, I'll take it step by step. Dongbush Shuang became calmer and calmer. After that, he began cultivating. The death of Gu Qi made Dongbush Shuang understand that he could not slack off. Even though there were only 10,000 years left until the end of the Star Convention, he was prepared to leave behind a few hundred years to guide those junior cultivators. During the remaining time, he would focus on cultivating. He did not hesitate to focus on the fusion of the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Slaughter-Killing move. He had to step into the 7th level of Star Pagoda. If he wanted to wrestle with the Sacred Master and threaten him, he had to be ruthless to himself. Even though his Tao of Mirage was very close to the Primal Chaos realm, and he could grasp it after some time, stepping into the 7th level at the Unity realm before reaching the Primal Chaos realm would be beneficial to his comprehension ability and other aspects. It would also increase his chances of breaking through to the Cosmos God realm. His target was not the Primal Chaos realm, but the final realm of Cosmos God. That was sufficient to threaten the existence of the Sacred Master. Naturally, grasping the Supreme Law was also the final goal of the Laws and Profound Mysteries system. But that was illusory. Dongbush Shuang only remembered it in his heart, and did not dare to think too much about it temporarily. He just had to walk along the path beneath his feet. Perhaps only after reaching the Cosmos God realm would he understand more about the Supreme Law. Dongbush Shuang sat cross-legged. He focused all his attention on the absolute move he was researching. Pushing a single Tao of Mirage or a single Tao of Slaughter to the 6th floor of Star Tower was his limit. Only by fusing the two would he be able to increase his power further. The path of Dark World Master isn't feasible. It should be according to the method I comprehended previously. I should split the destruction and slaughter into 3 parts. All sorts of thoughts were forming in the mind of Dongbush Shuang. His research on this move had already reached an extremely high realm. It was just that he was lacking something and had not perfected it. Just like the Sky Punishment Edge in the past, if he did not have the heart realm of my heart as the world, it was impossible for him to execute this move. Similarly, if he wanted to create a heaven-defying move on the 7th floor of Star Tower at the Unity realm, even though he had researched and accumulated sufficient experience, he had to reach absolute grand perfection before he could execute it. He could not be lacking even a single strand. Maybe I should do it this way. Shuang attempted it once again. At this moment, he suppressed the killing intent deep in his heart, causing him to slightly modify this move, causing it to be even more murderous. But at the same time, it was also more suppressed and reserved. It was like a peerless painter had painted a masterpiece in a certain state of mind. At this moment, Shui Ying's heart realm allowed him to modify this move by a tiny bit. It was this tiny bit that allowed this move to reach a different level of absolute perfection. For a supreme move like this, other than the accumulation of comprehension, it also required some other opportunities. Clearly, Dongbush Shui Ying's current heart realm was filled with killing intent, but he was suppressing it in his heart. He was also extremely calm while cultivating. Such a state of mind allowed him to perfectly execute this move. Hua! The illusory world was faintly discernible. In the center of this illusory world, there was a black flower bud. It seemed very young and had 3 leaves. There were even water droplets on the leaves. When Dongbush Shuang formed the illusory world with a single thought, the black flower bud did not collapse. Instead, it naturally emitted an indescribable intent. It had not even descended from the illusory world into reality. Just by being born in the illusory world, the formless laws of the world had already started to spread and affect reality. Within the cultivation room, the original operating laws of the sacred world were forced to retreat in front of it. Like cosmos gods, their techniques could even shatter the sacred world. Primal Chaos Realm giants might not be able to reach this stage, but it was sufficient to force the laws of the sacred world to retreat in a small region. Here, I am the master, and the laws of the sacred world have to retreat. And clearly, this black flower bud was so terrifying that it could reach this stage. Descend into reality. The eyes of Dongwu Shuang brightened. The black flower bud turned from illusory to reality. Furthermore, under the control of Dongwu Shuang, it was devouring the world energy at a relatively slow pace. After all, he was experimenting and not fighting. If he were to rapidly devour the world energy during a battle, it would be sufficient to form a violent maelstrom around his cavern dwelling. That would be too huge of a disturbance. As it gradually devoured the world energy, it became more and more real. Its 3 leaves, the surface of the flower bud, and the rolling water droplets on the leaves were all very real. Furthermore, the surrounding temperature was rapidly falling. The temperature of the cultivation room had fallen to a stage that made people's hearts tremble. This coldness would most likely freeze ordinary Unity Realm experts to death. Cold, absolutely cold, this was merely the moment it descended into reality. Its true power had yet to be released.